All right, we should be live. Should be all set. Okay, I can put this over here. Oops. There's going to be double audio. Hope everybody can hear me. Oh, I need to go pull up my, oops. Oh well. There we go. Howdy, howdy. We actually have our first super chat today already from Game Master Flash, LFGW Blitz. Thanks for enduring my personal nightmare every time you go live. Love the content. Keep it coming. I appreciate you. Yeah, no, I mean, it's just become a habit at this point. Now I just do it. Anyway, make sure to like the live, share the live with people that you know might be interested. Subscribe, follow, all of these things. The more kind of activity we get going on at the very beginning of a live, the more people we get in, and the more people we get in, the better chances we have of somebody joining the live stream. And I know that that's what you guys are all here for. You're not here for my pretty face after all. In the meantime, I'll just answer some questions, I guess. Can energy exist without time? Not really. Energy is kind of defined in reference to time, so it doesn't really make sense to say that, no. Like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, definitely. Make sure to share it. Oh, you guys are too sweet. Too sweet. You know, I actually slept in later than I usually do. My cat only woke me up at like 5:30 instead of 4:45 or 3:30, but for some reason, I'm still more tired than I usually am. Hey, it's Ethine. I kid, I know how to pronounce your name. Ethine. Oh yeah, and if you're 18 plus, by the way, whether you're on TikTok or on YouTube, make sure to join the Discord. You can get a whole bunch of announcements. I send out videos from, you know, the science communication videos I do, the debate clips that I do. I let you know when I'm live for live streams or for Ask a Physicist or anything. So make sure to join the Discord if you're 18 plus. Are you an atheist? Of course I am. Yeah. Hello from Purdue. Hello, Purdue. If God isn't real, why do the Beatles exist? Good point. Can you please come to Norway someday? I've actually been to Norway. I was in Tromsø the fall of 2023. It was lovely. Do you think we'll ever be able to realistically travel in space? Well, it depends on what you mean by realistically. Like, we can realistically do it now. It's just expensive and hard. You know, we can affirm that the Earth is older than 6,000 years. Yeah, of course you can. If you can, and if that's what you believe, then your church didn't lie to you. I'm specifically talking about those people for whom their churches did lie to them. Come to Oslo next time? I probably will. I was there originally for work. All right, let's talk to Professor Meow.
First,
Professor Meow, how's it going?
No, I'm fine. I just finished praying to God and confessing all my sins.
So, how old do you think the Earth is, Professor Meow?
I don't know, because Earth is I don't know how old the Earth is. It's just
Okay.
as a Christian, we just believe that God created the heaven and earth in...
Okay, well, the topic is about the age of the Earth, or the age of the universe, so thanks for being here. Yeah, mumbling with a trash mic is a surefire way for me to not want you to be there. Can you build a particular accelerator? Which accelerator do you want me to build? Because you asked me if I can build a particular accelerator, and I'm not sure. It depends on the particular specifics, right? Professor Meow, I'm not bringing you up. A red one. Ah, yes, I could build a red accelerator, yeah. The universe is so old it's getting senile. True. Is the official speculated age of the universe 13.5 billion years, or are there different theories? Well, that's roughly how long ago it is believed the Big Bang happened. So whether that's the beginning of the universe is a different story. Is it possible to steelman a young Earth argument even earlier in time? I don't know what you mean even earlier in time. Nobody claims it's 6,000 years old unless they think lineage is the ultimate timeline. Lots of people think it's 6,000 years old. I've spoken with a lot of them. Professor Jiang, no diff. No diffs, Professor Blitz. Okay, I mean, if that's what you think, then you might be lost. Who believes in young Earth creation? Look, there are people who have been trying to get young Earth creationism taught in schools. Talk to Gavin much. Gavin, how's it going?
Hey Blitz, how are you?
I'm doing all right. How old do you think the Earth is?
I don't know the exact number. I'm not a young Earth creationist, but I did have like a couple questions about like background radiation and all that.
Okay, but that's not the topic today. So, unfortunately, I gotta let you go. Right, there are days to ask questions. 40% of the live streams are about questions. But that's not today. Darmok and Gelada Tanagra indeed. Oops, let's get rid of that. Almost every Christian scholar believes in evolution. I agree. It's absolutely true. Unfortunately, it's not all Christian scholars. It's not, and it's certainly not all Christians. So that's the combat that we're doing today. Just become Muslim? Why would I become Muslim? See, there's somebody in the comments that's saying young Earth is true. Look, the reason why I don't let up people to ask questions is because then it makes people think that it's okay to come up to ask questions. Lion, how's it going?
It's going good.
How old do you think the Earth is?
Less than 25,000,
Less than 25.
yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, that's, I'm 32, so it can't be less than 25 years old, right? Yeah, so why do you think that?
Yeah, the only way we can know is through the revelation of God, right? Because all dating methods require presuppositions, and none of us know for certain about those presuppositions, so we can only know through the revelation of God.
So you said that we can't know without presuppositions, but we can know through the revelation of God? Can you clarify?
Yeah, the only way we can know for certain is through the revelation of God, correct?
Doesn't the revelation of God kind of rely on presuppositions as well?
It's justified.
What's the justification?
Yeah, that you would first need to assert the Christian God exists to even make any intelligible statement.
Oh, so this is a tag thing.
Well, no, I didn't try to introduce that. You just asked for the reasoning.
Okay, so what if I gave you justification that, you know, the Earth was older than 6,000 years old?
But the thing is,
what if I gave you explanation or justification or evidence rather that suggested that the Earth being quite old is compatible with the Christian God existing?
nah.
What do you mean no?
I'm like, no.
That wasn't a yes or no question.
Oh, I'm saying like if you try to, I'm sorry, but if you try to prove that the Earth is like, is over 6,000 years old without a dating method, right? And since you're gonna use a dating method, you're gonna be using a presupposition. So those presuppositions, literally, we don't know if those presuppositions are correct. Different universities do different studies, same with different presuppositions, same dating method, get totally different answers.
Oh, is that true?
Yes.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, I should show his profile picture. Give him a sec. He said he's going to find some examples of universities using the same dating method with different presuppositions coming to different conclusions. Presumably this is about the shape of the Earth. Or sorry, not the shape of the Earth, the age of the Earth. Give him a sec. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do.
So the first one's gonna be University of Chicago. I'll get you the second one right now.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, just telling me the university isn't helpful. I need to like know what specific study you're talking about. But yeah,
State, and I'll get you the title of the studies right now.
yeah, please do. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so just search up for the first one. Just search up uranium lead dating for the Earth for the first one.
Uranium lead Chicago, or sorry, University of Chicago uranium lead. Yeah. Okay. What about it?
And then for the second one, you're gonna look up.
So I mean, like, there are a lot of things about uranium lead that I'm seeing. Are you talking about university? Are you talking about uranium lead isotopic variations in zircon? That one?
Let me get you the exact specifics. Hold on.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Oh, it's gonna be Age of Meteorites and How the Earth Works for the first.
For University of Chicago?
Yeah. Yeah.
And How the Earth Works?
Oh no, sorry, and the Earth. Sorry, and the Earth.
And the Earth. Okay.
And for the second one, you're gonna search here. I'll type it in chat. UPB.
This by Claire Patterson?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Here, I'm tap for you. All right. And for the second one, you're just gonna search that up. Same dating methods, different answers.
UPB geochronology. Is this one from Princeton?
No, I told you the university.
Hold on, let me scroll up. What's the university? I don't see it in chat.
Pennsylvania State University.
Okay.
I told you two universities. So that
oh, no, you cut out. Okay. This from F Yuan?
I think so.
Yuan, Xiaoyangjiang. Or wait, I don't think that they're not from Pennsylvania State.
What
Do you know who the authors are?
The authors, let me get them for you.
Sure. Let's see if I can find it.
It's gonna be AJ Smay applications for UPB.
Applications. What's the name? AJ.
AJ. It's here. It's like Smay. I'm pretty sure Smay.
SM. How do you spell it?
Oh, SMYE.
Okay, let's see if we can find it. Applications and limitations. This one.
Yep.
Oh, this is thermochronology. It's not, but we'll take a look.
It's for the Earth.
Okay, so where was okay? This one was published there. Okay, so we have so I'm looking at the abstract for the second one. So the first one says an age of 4.5 billion years or so, right? That's in the abstract. Do we agree that that's what it says?
Yeah, sure.
By Claire Patterson. Okay, now the second one, I'm looking in the abstract. It doesn't actually seem to give a date. We can pull up the paper itself, though, if you want. They're using noble gas decay systems. They're doing thermochronology or thermochronometry here. This is uranium thorium to lead. This is just a description of what's happening. So where in this paper does it say that, do they get a different date or different age?
Wait, no, I'm not saying like these two correspond, but I'm saying these two give different answers.
Oh, what's the answer that the second one gives?
Yeah, I got you.
Because I'm scrolling through it right now, I don't actually see any ages. I don't see where they're making any claims about, oh, it's this age, the Earth is this old or something. But I haven't read the whole paper, so I'm scrolling through it now. I'll just download the full text of the PDF rather than scrolling through a weird, like a weird text version of the file. Now, this is weirdly written. It's like
yeah. So for the second one, I'm looking at the thing right now. I'm about to like pull it up to get you the date.
Yeah. So what's the line number? Because the numbers that I'm looking at are lined. So if you could provide the line number in the paper that says it, or the section number if you have a different version. The thing is it's hard to actually like do a control F for this because the way that they're going to express it will probably be different. So it makes it a little bit tricky. Although actually, I don't even think that this paper really is claiming to compute the age of the Earth. Yeah, it's not. So
no, yeah. So one is gonna be around like four. It's gonna be around like 466, 4.66.
4.6. Do you mean section 4.6?
No, I mean like date of the Earth.
Where does it say that in this paper?
Yeah, I don't know if I can get you the exact thing. It should be more sort to the bottom.
I'm sorry. Do you have the paper pulled up?
I have the paper. I have the university pulled up.
What do you mean the university? This is a paper written by 4 different authors.
No, it's on the university publisher site.
Hold on. I have a feeling that what's the university publishing site that you see it on?
Yeah, it's gonna be the first one's gonna be Penn, and the second one, I mean, first Chicago, and then the second one is Penn.
Wait, to be clear, just to be super clear, the authors of this paper are not all at Penn State. In fact, it's not even clear that any of them are.
It's a Penn State study. People at Penn State study this. Yes, it is.
Can you tell
People
me what
at
journal
Penn State
this
study this. People at Penn State, they
Can you
study
tell me what journal can you tell me what journal this was published in?
I don't know the exact journal. I'll have to get that for you.
So hold on. Did you ChatGPT this?
No.
I think you kind of did. So here's the study.
Didn't.
This is the thing that you're referring to, right? This is the paper.
No, that's not it.
It's the right author. It has the name that you said it did. So this is not the paper that you're referring to.
You're on the wrong paper.
Okay, so what's the name of the paper that you're referring to?
I just hate you're so dishonest for no reason.
What's the name of the paper that you're referring to?
Blitz, why are you being so dishonest?
So this is one of the papers, right? This is
that's one of the papers. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So this is one of the papers. The name of the paper is Age of Meteorites in the Earth. It's published in Geochimica et Cosmochimica Acta. It's published in the 50s. Fine. And this is
what's
the
wrong with
second
that?
name of the.
Wait, what the hell's wrong? What's
this
wrong
is
with the
fine.
deposits in the 50s?
No, it's fine. It's just old. That's
I
all.
know
So
it's fine.
we may have had better improved methods of
No,
making
we didn't.
measurements.
We
but
don't have improvements. No, we don't. Why the fuck are you lying?
Lion, chill. I'm fine to talk about this paper. It's not an issue.
We don't have better
second
improvements than
paper.
this.
This was the second paper. So what paper are you talking
Oh,
about?
actually, it was my bad, son.
Okay, so where in this paper? Because I have the full text of the paper.
You
Where in
gotta
this paper
scroll
does it say
down.
the age?
By
the way, none of these authors are from Pennsylvania.
they don't gotta be from
Oh,
Pennsylvania.
actually, sorry, one of them is
Pennsylvania
Aegis
to
Myers.
study. They don't have to
You're
be
right,
from
they don't.
Pennsylvania for it to
So
study.
where in this paper does it say the age of the Earth?
Look, we gotta go through it.
Did you read it?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the line? What line number is it on?
We're gonna go through it.
I feel like you didn't read this.
I did.
Lion, are you lying to me? You know lying's a sin, right?
I just said we could go through it. Why are you being dishonest?
I already looked through it. I don't see the age.
You're being scared because you know I know more about science.
I don't see the age
than you do.
anywhere. It doesn't say the age anywhere in the abstract.
It does.
I already read the abstract.
It
Do you want to
does.
read the abstract? We can read the abstract.
It does. It doesn't
read
need
the
to mention
abstract
it in the
together.
abstract.
Volume diffusion of lead occurs over micron-length scales in apatite and rutile at temperatures relevant to the evolution of the middle and lower crust. Continuous thermal history information can be resolved from inversion of intracrystalline
There's a but we're not
uranium
going to
lead
read
dating
every single one of
profiles
those
preserved
abstracts.
with individual grains.
What the fuck are you
Recent
doing?
developments in microbeam analysis permit rapid measurement of these age profiles
Blitz,
at
what are
submicron
you
spatial
doing?
resolution, thus heralding a new era for
We're not reading
uranium
every
lead
single one of
thermochronology.
them.
Here we
What are
review
you
the theoretical
doing?
and experimental and empirical
What the
basis
fuck are
for
you doing? We're not
uranium-lead
reading every single one of
thermochronology and show
them.
that
There's
rutile in
there's like
particular
150. What the
presents
fuck are
an
you doing?
exceptional opportunity to obtain high-resolution
Blitz,
thermal
what the
history
fuck are you
information from the
doing?
deep crust. We present
I
a
can tell you
Bayesian
the line
procedure that is
number, like, why are you
well-suited to the
doing all
inversion of
this?
uranium lead.
I can tell you the fucking line number. What are you doing?
Okay, what's the line number now? Tell me the line
Okay,
number.
thank you. I said that, grab your attention because you couldn't stop fucking talking.
What's the line number?
Like, you're gonna scroll down to the hundreds. Right, wait, no, you're gonna scroll down
I'm sorry, what's the line number?
You're gonna scroll down to the 80s and up.
What's the line number?
I forgot, I just noticed in the 80s are up.
80s.
Yo.
Here's the 80s. No dates, no ages
You're
mentioned.
not reading carefully enough.
I'm not. There are no numbers here. There's no numbers here. Here are the 80s. There's no number. Here's 900 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, they were
L is
talking
approximately
about
1 micrometer for monzonite and 3 micrometer for zircon at 900 degrees Celsius over 10 million years.
No, they were
But that's
talking
not
about the
talking
fusion with the
Earth.
zircon. They're talking about the fusion with the zircon.
Yeah, so I thought that the age of the Earth was in the 80s in the line number.
I said 80s and up.
Okay, that's the entire paper. So what's the line number? Lion,
You have
this
to
is
go through them.
like wildly dishonest, by the way.
It's not. I just told you. I forgot the exact one. I just know it's in the 80s and up.
That's the entire paper, my guy.
No, it's not. What
The
do you think
80s
is before
and
80?
up?
What do you think is before 80?
I was being hyperbolic. The paper is 66
You
pages
can't
long.
even define hyperbolic.
The paper is 66 pages long, and you're telling me that it's somewhere after page 6. Are you serious?
Yeah, we could just skim through them real quick. It'll take like a minute.
This is the entire base of your argument, and somehow you don't know where it is?
Well, I could justify my
actually-
argument without these two studies. It doesn't
okay,
matter.
so what's the justification that the assumptions are unreliable?
Yeah, I got you. So different presuppositions require different dating methods, right? We don't know.
Hold on, wait. That sentence didn't even make sense. Different presuppositions require
Oh,
different dating methods.
my bad. Dating methods require different. My bad. Other way around. Dating methods require presuppositions, right? Different presuppositions. We don't know for certain, right? For example, like radiometric dating, you have to presuppose how many isotopes are lost and stuff like that. We don't know for certain. We don't know any of those things, so we have to just make a ball
how do you
count
know?
guess.
How do you know that we don't know any of those things?
Because it's called a presupposition for a reason.
Oh, how do you know it's a presupposition?
How do I know it's a presupposition?
Uh-huh.
Or you're asking me how do I know? Because it doesn't have it's not justified.
Oh, and how are you sure about that?
How am I sure it's not justified?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because because it's illogical.
Oh, okay. Where's the logical contradiction? What's the P and not P?
Yeah, with you knowing for certain that dating methods are reliable.
Sorry,
Yeah,
don't
so
shift the burden.
Yeah, so the
Don't burden
contradiction.
shift.
No,
What's the
that
contradiction
was a
here?
question. That was a question. That wasn't shifting it. That was
So
just
the
a question. That
question
was
was,
like
is how do you
that was a
know?
clarifying question, so I know what you're
So
asking me.
you proposed, you suggested that it is a contradiction. Actually, it's not even clear. What did you say? Let's play it back.
Yeah, I said it's a contradiction to say you're certain about dating methods.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you for that. Otherwise, I could play it back. So what's the contradiction?
Yeah, if you're certain about dating methods, that means you're certain regardless of presuppositions. And a presupposition is literally you acknowledging that you don't know it, since it's unjustified too. Keep in mind that presuppositions are justified. So to say you know this thing but you don't
Wait a minute.
know
Hold
this
on.
thing,
This
that's a
sounds like word
contradiction.
salad. You're gonna have to repeat all of this so then I can write it down and parse it for you. Go ahead.
Okay,
What's the contradiction?
presupposition shows that there's a lack of knowledge.
Okay. Premise one: presuppositions show that there's a
No,
lack
this
of
isn't.
knowledge.
I'm not.
Sure.
This isn't. I'm not presenting this
Okay.
in like a.
Let's say point one then. Fine. Okay. What's point two?
Right. To know something for certain, you know it regardless of the presupposition.
Okay. What's next?
Yeah, all dating methods require presupposition. It's a necessary precondition. Therefore, you don't know it for certain. It's pretty simple.
Did you say all dating methods require presupposition? It's a necessary precondition, therefore it requires presupposition?
No, I said all dating methods require presuppositions. Presuppositions are a necessary precondition for dating methods. So therefore, right, you lack knowledge, because we already established that you lack knowledge when you make presuppositions. So when you make presuppositions for dating methods, lack knowledge. If you lack knowledge and say you're for certain, that's a contradiction.
Okay, so hold on. So I'm just going to summarize what you said. You said first, presuppositions show that there's a lack of knowledge.
Unjustified presuppositions, yes. Unjustified, yep.
So I'm just repeating what you said. Presuppositions show that there's a lack of knowledge. Actually, let me just put this on the
Unjustified
screen.
presuppositions show that there's a lack of knowledge.
I'm just going to put this on the screen. It's fine. So we have presuppositions show that there is a lack of knowledge. Then you said to know something for certain, you know it regardless of presupposition. Then you said all dating methods require presupposition. Then you said presuppositions are necessary preconditions for dating methods. And then you said therefore we lack knowledge. So
therefore you can't know presuppositions for certain.
Therefore,
but that would be an entailment.
Well, that's not what you said, but we can change it. Therefore, we can't know presuppositions for certain.
More direct.
Okay, so the contradiction that you said.
No, not that we don't know presuppositions for certain. We don't know dating methods.
That's what you said. You literally just said that.
Dating methods for certain, not presuppositions for certain.
No, dating methods for certain. So, sorry, what's the contradiction that you said existed?
Can you put unjustified for the point one? It's unjustified presupposition.
That's fine. Okay, so what was the contradiction that you suggested existed?
Yeah, to know something for certain means you know it regardless of a presupposition. Dating methods require presuppositions. Therefore, you don't know it for certain.
Sorry, what was the contradiction?
I just told you, P and not P. When you assert you know it for certain, but say you don't know it, that's a contradiction.
Sorry, well, we can replay it. We'll just replay it. And then, fine. Okay, what's point two? Clear. What did you say? Let's play it back.
Yeah, I said it's a contradiction to say you're certain about dating methods.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Okay. So you said that it's a contradiction to say that you're certain about dating methods. So
yes.
So to be clear, you mean that saying you're certain about dating methods implies some kind of contradiction, right?
Yeah, so if you imply it to be true, then yes.
So okay. So the claim then, the P and not P is that you have you have knowledge but you don't have knowledge? Is that the P and not P?
Yeah, that you claim that the claimant, right, is that you're certain, but you're not certain at the same time.
Oh, who said anything about certainty?
This is look at point two. We're literally talking about certainty. What the fuck are you talking about?
Claiming to have knowledge doesn't necessarily mean claiming to have certainty.
I said we can't know dating methods for certain. This is how it all started.
Oh, wait a minute. Are you not a fallibilist about knowledge?
No, we're not shifting this.
Well, look, so
I'm
I'm a
not gonna-
fallibilist about knowledge. I
I'm
don't think
not
that
gonna
anybody
let
can
you.
be
I'm
certain
not
about
gonna let
anything.
you run, Blitz. I'm not gonna let you run
Just
from
to be
this
clear, if you're
sentence.
saying if your whole argument falls when I say, "Oh, I'm a fallibilist," then it seems like your argument isn't very
Okay,
strong.
perfect. If you're a fallibilist, that means you don't think that you know anything for certain. Perfect.
Yeah, I don't think anybody knows anything for certain. Yeah.
Okay, so perfect. So wait, so in your worldview, you don't know that dating method. You don't know
No,
that the dating methods work.
I do
certain.
know it.
No, you don't.
Knowledge doesn't imply certainty.
Wait, you don't know it. That's the thing. Blitz.
A fallibilist doesn't think that knowledge requires certainty. You
Yeah,
understand
define
that,
knowledge.
right?
Define knowledge.
A justified belief about the natural world. That is that corresponds with the natural world.
A
we can
justified
say.
belief about the natural world.
Yeah, and we can say with high credence corresponds with the natural world as well.
Yeah, can knowledge be wrong?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect. So should we, as humans, should we only take true knowledge? Should we
Should
only
we
take knowledge that's
true
true?
knowledge? I don't
Should
think
we
that.
only take knowledge that's true?
I don't know what you mean by only
So
take
we only
knowledge that's
accept
true.
knowledge
Hey,
that's
do you want me to
true.
answer your question? So look, I don't think that we can ever be 100% certain, with perhaps a few exceptions.
Yes, we can.
Of anything.
We literally
So
can.
I don't know what it means to say take knowledge that's true.
Yes, we can be, or at least in my worldview, I can. You can't because you don't have anything grounding anything in your worldview. So nothing is sustaining natural order in your worldview.
That seems like a cool pivot. But look, so
No, I'm just letting you
does
know
your
that you can't.
worldview. So in your worldview, and this is fine. We can talk about your worldview. In your worldview, it is your position that that we cannot justify natural conclusions.
No, I can justify natural conclusions.
No, I know. We're talking about your worldview. So like the kind
Yeah.
of science that people do. You don't think that's based on justifiable positions, justifiable beliefs.
Certain science.
Which science is and which science isn't?
Well, when I say like certain science, I just mean like certain things that scientists claim that we could take to be true or are not true.
Well, so for example, in your worldview, do the laws of physics change?
No, and I have a justified reason to why.
Right, great. Okay, so and like we might have different worldviews, but under both of our worldviews, the laws of physics don't change.
But
Now,
you don't have a justified
so
belief to say.
we're not talking about my
that you
beliefs
won't
right now.
float
We're
tomorrow.
examining your beliefs. So under your worldview, you agree that the laws of physics don't change, but the laws of physics govern
Yeah.
the rate of radioactive decay. Do we agree on that?
The rate of radioactive decay, sure.
Okay. And so if the rate of radioactive decay are unchanging, as the laws of physics are unchanging, then it seems like that we
What the hell
have
do you mean? What do you mean
the
radioactive
rate of
decay?
the rate of radioactive decay is a constant. It's derivable from the laws of physics for different elements.
Sure.
So for a given element like uranium-238 or uranium-235, under your worldview, you're justified in believing that that rate of radioactive decay is unchanging, right?
Sure.
Okay, now if the rate of radioactive decay is unchanging, and we see a certain amount of, and we can just talk about uranium, we see a certain amount of uranium in zircon crystals, and we see a certain amount of lead in zircon crystals, what is the explanation in your worldview for that ratio?
The ratio of crystals.
Yeah, the ratio of lead to uranium.
Well, what does this have to do anything? My bad.
It has to do with the age of the Earth.
No, I'm saying like I don't even understand the extent of your question. You're asking what in my worldview, what justifies
How do you
there being two
explain?
different?
How do you explain the high ratio of lead to uranium in zircon crystals?
I don't know the exact process. I don't know.
Well, I mean, look, so uranium decays to lead. That's something that's well understood. We can see this in a laboratory. And so
yeah, I know that.
the secular, if you will, or the old Earth explanation is that, well, zircon crystals form with uranium impurities. Those uranium impurities then decay into lead. And we know how long it takes for those uranium impurities to decay into lead because this is a constant of nature.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
I'm sorry, you did just agree that decay rates are constants
No,
of
we
nature.
don't.
I'm sorry, did you
Wait,
not just
no,
agree to that a minute ago?
I said no, we don't. I said not. You don't know in your
You
worldview.
have
I do.
an Hold on. We'll just replay it.
I just said I know, but you don't know.
Yeah, no, we're working under your worldview right now.
Yeah, but you can't critique my worldview. It's impossible.
Contradict.
That
we're talking about your
worldview.
worldview. Well, that's not what you said, but we can So
I'm saying it's impossible to critique my worldview.
I know that's what you're saying, but I'm critiquing it anyway. Sorry.
No, it's literally impossible. It's irrational.
I'm sorry. It's happening.
It's not a critique.
Then it seems like that
True.
I don't know what you mean by only
So
take
we only
knowledge that's
accept
true.
knowledge
In your world,
when I say
and like
you don't have a
it's
just.
under your
Why
world.
are you just replaying
Sure.
it?
Agree that the laws of physics don't change, but the laws of physics govern
Yeah.
the rate of radioactive decay. Do we agree on that?
The rate of radioactive decay, sure.
Okay. And so if the rate of radioactive decay are unchanging, as the laws of physics are unchanging, then it seems like that we
What
have
the hell do you mean? What do you mean radioactive decay?
the rate of radioactive decay is a constant. It's derivable from the laws of physics for different elements.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the rate of radioactive decay is constant.
Yeah, I never
You
said
just
it's
agreed to
not.
that.
I just said in your worldview it's not.
We're talking about your worldview right now.
I'm saying you don't even have basis to critique my worldview.
It seems like you're pivoting to tag because you can't defend your worldview. Look,
This is
you
a
can
tag,
you can
but-
hold you can hold. I mean, you're running tag in the background. You can hold the belief that God is real while also believing that the Earth is quite old.
No,
I mean,
you can't.
like, okay. I mean, so you just agreed that in your worldview, the rate of radioactive decay is constant, and if the rate of radioactive decay is constant, then we can use that information to derive how long it's been since that decay was
hold on,
crystallized. Do
But
we
the
agree on
thing
that?
is, right, we can't just do that alone. We need different presuppositions. We can't just look at that base
so
value
what
alone.
presuppositions do we need?
For uranium lead dating, we need first presupposition. We need to estimate. We need to guess just how many isotopes are lost. If it was a closed system, how many atoms are lost. So we don't know that, right?
How many atoms of what?
I'm saying like how many isotopes and stuff were lost
Isotopes of what?
of the uranium.
So the issue is not how much uranium there is. The issue is how much lead there is.
No, so the issue, right, is how many presuppositions go into that. There's at least two presuppositions on any dating method.
So
There's more. There is more.
So look, so the amount of lead is the relevant thing here. You understand that, yeah?
No, it's not.
No, you don't understand that.
The relevant thing here, right, the way we can even get a answer is through putting different presuppositions.
Okay, so what are the
you agree-
presuppositions that
do you
are
agree or
relevant for
disagree?
computing? What are the presuppositions that are relevant for computing the age of a
Do
zircon
you
crystal?
agree or disagree?
What are the presuppositions that
Do
you
you
believe
agree
are
or
relevant?
disagree?
What are the presuppositions that you believe are relevant for computing the age of a zircon
I'm not
crystal?
going to answer your question until you say yes or no. Do
That
you agree
there
or
are
disagree?
presuppositions involved? I
That there's
wouldn't call
more
them
than two. Yeah,
presuppositions, no.
Wait, that there's two or more presuppositions in
I
any
wouldn't call them
dating method.
presuppositions, no.
Yeah, so if you're telling me if you search up, do all dating methods require presuppositions, right now it's going to say no? Or is that what
I
you're telling
wouldn't
me?
call them presuppositions.
Yeah, so you wouldn't call them presuppositions, but
So that's why I'm answering no.
Every scientist calls them presuppositions. It's called
I mean,
uniformitarianism.
I've never heard a scientist use that word, but if
So
you
you
wanna
never
use
you
that
never
word,
heard
that's
of a
fine.
scientist say uniformitarianism?
No, creationists do a lot.
No, so uniformitarianism.
But I've actually never heard a
is
scientist use that sentence or use that
Uniformitarianism is a
phrase.
presupposition all science uses.
So to be clear, you've already granted uniformitarianism, by the way. You've already granted that the rate of radioactive decay is constant.
No, hold on. I granted uniformitarianism in my
Yep.
worldview because I have
Yeah. So you already granted it. So that's a presupposition that you already agree is true.
that natural order remain the same.
Yeah. Okay. And so now we have to ask, well,
Wait, what the
about-
fuck?
what about zircon crystals?
Uniformitarianism is true. Wait,
what about
hold on.
zircon crystals?
Wait. Can you elaborate more on that? What do you mean uniformitarianism is true?
That
It's a precept. Precepts aren't true.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Precepts aren't true.
By definition, they're not.
Well, I don't think that's what the word means. Uniformitarianism is a proposed
It's
description
just a
of the way
belief
the
that
world
natural
was.
order and natural laws are sustained. Boom.
I mean, like if that's your definition,
That's
fine.
literally
That's
the
not
easiest
that's
definition.
not the
That's
sense in
gonna
which
work.
I've used the word, and that's not the sense in which I was using the word.
It's gonna work in the future. That's
Right.
literally what the fuck
So
it is.
that's a proposition. Propositions can be true.
Can propositions be true?
Yeah, of course they can.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, and so the proposition presupposition, or the natural laws have remained the same throughout the entirety of history, is a proposition, right?
Wait, hold on. You can't prove that.
I never said I could. It's a proposition, and it can be true.
Yeah, I'm saying you can't prove that, but I can.
That's irrelevant. We're talking about your worldview right now.
Yeah, but I'm saying you don't have a basis.
That's great. That's great. I'm glad you feel that way. We're talking about your worldview right now. So the point is you've already granted that the laws of physics are consistent throughout time.
Yeah, because God sustains them.
And that's perfectly fine. I'm glad that you believe that God is sustaining the laws of physics. Fine. The point is that now we can go talk about chemistry. So do you
Why the
believe,
fuck are we going to talk about chemistry?
because that's involved when we're talking about geochronology. Do you believe that zircon crystals can admit lead impurities during formation?
It depends.
On what?
Factors in its environment.
Like what?
Yeah, if it's a closed or open, that's a big factor.
If what's closed or open?
That's probably one of the
closed or
biggest
open?
System. That's probably one of the
What
biggest
system?
factors.
We're talking about the formation of a zircon crystal.
Yeah, I'm saying if the system is closed or open.
So all zircon crystal formation systems are open, kind of by definition.
No, I said if they're closed or open.
Yeah, so all zircon crystals during formation are an open system.
Are you saying it's a necessary precondition that they're?
That's just
open?
what it means for a crystal to crystallize. It's part of an open
No,
system.
it doesn't. No, it
How can you
doesn't.
have a closed system during crystallization, while crystallization is part of something coalescing from a larger system that includes the environment? It doesn't even make sense to call it a closed system.
Hold on. Number one, I said factors around the environment.
So the question is, under what conditions do you believe can affect whether... Sorry, that's not a sentence. What conditions do you believe can affect whether or not lead atoms can find their way into a zircon crystal during crystallization?
How lead atoms can find their way into there?
Yeah. What are the conditions that you believe are required for that to be the case?
Oh, it depends on the location.
It does.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on
the location of the crystal?
Time. Depends on the time.
How does it depend on these things? What's the way? What's the mechanism?
So the way it depends on the time, right? Or I'll start on the way it depends on the environment, and then I'll say the time or location. The way it depends on the location, right, is because the environment, it all factors into it. Whether
I want a mechanism, not just platitudes that are vague.
That's not vague.
You just said it depends on the factors that go into it. Like that's
No,
super
I
vague.
said it. Yeah, wait, hold on. I said the environment, right? You already agreed on this. Why are we discussing that?
I did not agree on this.
Wait, so
I'm
you don't
asking,
agree
what
that
are the
the
conditions?
environment? Wait,
What
you
are
don't
the
agree that the
conditions?
environment is
No.
a necessary precondition
For what?
for lead to find its way in there?
Lead can't find its way into a zircon crystal during formation.
No, it's possible.
It's chemically impossible.
It's
It
possible.
has the wrong electronegativity.
It's possible.
Okay, prove it.
Yeah, there's no contradiction.
This is a physical impossibility, not a logical impossibility.
Yeah,
We're not talking
so when
about
I say it's
contradictions here.
possible, when I say it's possible,
You
I'm
mean
just
it's
meaning in
logically
logical
possible?
sense. Yes.
We're
yes,
talking
it
about a
is
physical
logical.
process. Nobody cares if there's
Well,
a
you just said it's
physical
not
world.
possible, so I
Yeah,
had to. I had to
physically, it's
help
not
you.
physically or chemically possible.
Is it chemically possible? Yeah, it is chemically possible. Yeah.
Oh, it is? What's the mechanism that allows this to happen?
Yeah, it's possible in chemistry because there's no contradiction once again.
Do you understand what a chemical impossibility is or a physical impossibility is?
Yeah, the difference between a nomological and a logical is nomological possibilities have to do with laws of physics. Anything that defies laws of physics is nomologically impossible. Logically possible is anything that doesn't assert a contradiction.
Yeah, and so because of the crystalline structure of zircon or zircon crystals, zirconium and oxides,
Zirconium
it
doesn't
is
fucking
physically
exist.
impossible. It is physically impossible.
Zirconium doesn't exist.
What? Zirconium doesn't exist?
Not in the way you think. No.
I'm sorry, what?
I just told you not in the way you think.
Wait.
Wait, my bad.
What
I
do you
meant
think
to
a
say.
zircon crystal is?
Wait, hold on. My bad. I meant to say the crystals. They don't exist in the way you think.
What?
They don't. Why you acting confused? You heard it.
I'm acting confused because you said something stupid.
I never say anything stupid.
You just
Or
did.
that's so smart.
Well, I mean, to be clear, you did just say zirconium doesn't exist. So
Nah,
what,
I said
so
it not in the way you think.
You're right. Okay, so what?
Not in the
what
way
wa-
you think.
So in what way do I think that they exist, and how do you know that they don't exist in that way?
Yeah, so you think these crystals, right? You think they're formed, right, through tight pressure. And you think they're formed through uranium. You think they're formed through the element uranium, right?
No.
The reason yes, you
No,
do.
that's
Yes, you
not what I
do.
think. No.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do think
No.
that. Don't fucking lie to me.
Zircon crystals are not formed through uranium.
Yes, you think that. Yes, you do.
No, I don't. That's not what a
Yes, you
zircon
do.
crystal is. Bro doesn't even know what a zircon crystal is. What's the
I do know
chemical
what a zircon
composition of
crystal
zircon? Of a zircon crystal?
You asked me like the elements that go into it.
Yeah.
It's a pretty decent amount.
What are the kinds? Can you name at least two?
2 elements that go into it.
Yeah, name 2 different elements that go into a
Yeah.
pure zircon crystal.
Oxygen and hydrogen.
I don't think that there's any hydrogen in a zircon crystal.
Yeah, there is.
Let's look it up.
Okay.
Let's look it up. Sorry, that's the wrong browser. Here we go.
Yep, and you're gonna see I'm right.
Zircon is a natural gemstone and mineral, a silicate of zirconium. Zirconium, silicon, oxygen. There's no hydrogen in zircon crystals.
Yeah, the elements around.
What?
The environment
It's a zirconium
around.
silicon oxide, or 4 oxygens.
There's
no
hydrogen
hydrogens.
around the crystal. There's
Oh
hydrogen.
my god,
around the
this is the
crystal.
most bad faith debater I've ever heard.
I literally said. I told you.
I
There's
asked you
hydrogen
what
around
are
the crystal.
what are two
Now, if
elements that
you're
are found in
asking what
zircon
is it
crystals?
comprised of? What is it
I asked you
comprised
what are
of?
2 elements found in zircon crystals
I'm saying you don't even
that
have
make a
basic-
pure.
Oh,
In fact, I even
didn't
said
know you
pure
said
zircon
in.
crystals. Different
I
elements.
just thought you
Hold on.
said 2
We'll
elements.
replay it. We'll replay it. It's fine. Let's look it up.
Okay.
Name at least 2.
It's a pretty decent. You asked me like the elements that go into it.
Yeah.
It's a pretty decent amount.
What are the kinds? Can you name at least 2?
I think
Hold
that
on. Let's
yes, you
back up a
do.
little bit more. No, I don't. That's not what a
Yes, you
zircon
do.
crystal is, bro.
Yes, you think that. Yes, you do.
No, I don't. That's not what a
Yes, you
zircon
do.
crystal is. Bro doesn't even know what a zircon crystal is. What's the
I do know
chemical
what a zircon
composition of
crystal is.
zircon? Of a zircon crystal?
You asked me like the elements that go into it.
Yeah.
It's a pretty decent amount.
What are the kinds? Can you name at least 2?
2 elements that go into it.
Yeah. Name 2 different elements that go into a
Yeah.
pure zircon crystal?
Oxygen and hydrogen.
I don't think. You heard it here first, folks. Those are 2 different elements that go into a pure zircon crystal. That is part of the chemical composition of zircon. It's not. It's wrong. You don't even know what a
Wait, hold
zircon
on.
crystal is.
Hydrogen is around the crystal, dummy.
It's not in a pure zircon crystal. It's not part of the chemical
literally
composition of a
around
pure
in the
zircon
crystal.
crystal.
It's literally around the crystal. What the fuck are you saying?
So just to be clear, and I just want to lay
This
this
is how I
out for
know you're
everybody.
dumb, Blitz.
So
You don't have a
bro came in.
PhD.
So bro
You
came
don't have a
in.
fucking PhD.
Lion came in trying to make a sophisticated argument about uranium-lead dating. When exposed that he doesn't even know what zircon is,
I do
now
know what
he's
zircon.
doing ad hom.
Well, I do know what zircon is, and I didn't say it.
No, you don't. You didn't even know 2 elements that can be found in it.
Hey, Blitz. Do you even know what a zircon is?
Yeah, it's a type of crystal.
Type of fucking crystal.
Yeah,
Everything is a type of fucking crystal.
that's not true. Glass isn't.
Yes, it is.
Glass is not a crystal, no.
Wood is a type of crystal.
Are you asking for a
Shit.
definition of or an example?
No, I'm telling you, everything is a fucking type of crystal.
No, it's not true. Glass isn't a type of crystal.
What is a type of crystal? What is a fucking type of crystal? Metal is a
type-
type of crystal.
Sorry?
Shit. Metal
Glass
is a
is
type
not
of
a type. Glass is not a type of crystal. It's called an amorphous
It's not.
solid.
Okay, except for glass, but shit, that's really it.
Liquids are not types of crystals.
Okay, I mean, damn near anything solid is a type of crystal.
So there are 2 types of
Paper
solids. There's
bags
amorphous
are
solids.
types of fucking crystals.
There are
Did you
2
know
types
that?
of solids. There's amorphous solids and crystalline solids.
If you want to be vague, there's 3.
Okay, what's the third?
That's if you want to be vague, but
I
it'll
want
fall
to
into
be
this.
vague. What's the third?
Well, I don't want to be vague.
Oh, okay, I'm sure you don't.
Yeah, I don't, because I like
Yeah, so
substance.
so look, I mean, it's pretty embarrassing that you came in
Yeah, I know it's embarrassing.
claiming
for
to
you,
make
bro.
some sort of scientific claim and
I
claiming
know it's
to know
embarrassing
about
for you.
the presuppositions involved in uranium lead dating. Then
Yes,
you
I do
provided
know.
a source. Then you
Yep.
provided a source that doesn't say what you claimed it
It
says
did say
because
it.
you
It
found it
did
on
say it.
Google.
Yes, it did.
And then, when
Yes,
pressed
it
on what
did.
uranium lead dating is, you couldn't provide any explanation. You just wanted to run tag, and when I wouldn't let you, you just started making shit up.
My explanation
So
was
I think,
perfect.
Lion, I think
And
I think your time
honestly
here is
think
done.
I-
That was super bad faith. I was like wildly bad faith. But you know what it was? It was great content. All right, let's bring up our next guest. Let's talk to some dude on the internet.
Hello?
Some dude on the internet. How's it going?
Oh, not too bad. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. How old are you?
Oh, I am 42. Oh, it's 43. Egads. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
43.
All right. And how old do you think the Earth is?
Oh, billions of years old. I actually came up here because I often engage in this debate, but I actually have a strange background. I'm a biologist trained in a very conservative university, and I've seen that there's actually some really good science behind how to convince folks who are religious on how to accept evolution. I'm wondering if you're curious about talking about that at all, or
Well, I would say yes, but I generally don't go the evolution route anyway because I'm not a biology guy. I'm a physics guy. But do you want to DM me and we can set up like a call at some point? Because I'd love to hear what you have to say about the matter. Just not
yeah,
like
absolutely.
yeah. Please.
It's more like, and I'll just give you a quick brief and then drop down.
Sure.
So it's the idea of like separating. It's not a false binary. So there are plenty of people who believe in the age of the universe, who believe in the Bible. Some famous scholars who are very religious, and it's just like forcing this false binary that you either have to believe in God or you have to believe in the age of the universe or evolution. It doesn't seem very productive because it's like ego death. Like your last caller, that was it
Yeah,
was
like I even
terrifying
told
for him
him,
to
I
confront.
even told him that you
Yeah,
can believe the Earth is old and be a Christian.
yeah. And I think that's where it's like it's the reconciliation approach, saying
Yep.
just like, hey, you can believe in this, but God's big. Maybe you don't understand God as well as you think you do. But I just wanted to. That's usually what I try to come up and talk with these creation folks to say like, hey,
Yeah,
maybe God
totally
is bigger than you
understandable.
can imagine. Yeah. But in any case, I'll drop down. I appreciate what you're doing, and I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for being here, bud. We'll talk later. All right, we have some guests from YouTube. Gladius, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. First, I have to check how old you are. How old are you?
Oh, I'm 33.
All right. And how old do you think the Earth is?
Well, I think the Earth is old. I don't really refute you on a lot of the concepts of the age of the Earth. However, I wanted to ask you some of your thought process. I had some theories because when I was reading, because I was a Christian, I was reading the biblical story, and I saw how old, because they had the ages of I guess I'm pretty sure it's Genesis or Exodus. I can't remember which one.
It's like, like the age of Abraham and then the age of
Yeah,
Seth.
and
like
they're like
the age
900
of,
years old,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then everything, and so then you come up with the age, and I was like, all right, well, that doesn't really, make a lot of sense, because I took, organic chemistry and physics in college and everything, and I understood all that. And I was like, yeah, the Earth is definitely, older, and then that concept. However, I tried to wrap my head around it, like, how do I try to formulate, the concepts of that with my Christian faith, and I did think there was a couple interesting things that caused me to think about this. One, if you consider like the Big Bang, if that's your theory of how the universe was created.
So Gladius,
yeah.
I do appreciate it, but I am looking for opposition here.
No, I know. So, well, I just want to put these couple thoughts out, get your opinion on them, And then if you're like you don't have any opinion, then that's cool, and I'll leave. I do have some opposition to certain like things of carbon dating and stuff, because I didn't quite understand if you're ingesting carbon and your body's incorporating that carbon into you, and then you carbon date yourself, but the carbon you ate was like, 100,000 years old. How the hell does carbon date know the difference between what you ate?
So I'm happy to answer that question, but then I am going to boot you because today's not Ask a Physicist Live. But essentially,
no, I understand that. But
so I'm happy to answer that question. So essentially, the way carbon dating, kind of like the fundamental principle that carbon dating relies on, is that there's a fixed fraction of carbon-14 in the atmosphere.
Yep.
So all of all of the carbon on Earth, it's a certain fraction, and the reason why is because that carbon-14 is produced by cosmic rays, basically. And so when you ingest carbon, you are keeping, like when you're alive and you're eating food and you're whatever, the ratio of carbon-14 to carbon-12, say, in your body will be basically identical to the ratio that it is in the atmosphere. Because the food that you're eating is coming from, grain that absorbed it and so on and so forth. However, once you die, you are no longer getting more carbon-14 from the atmosphere to kind of replace the old carbon-14 from the atmosphere that decays away. And so when you die, the carbon-14 ratios start going down. So the timer starts on the carbon-14 dating the moment you stop getting new carbon from the atmosphere. Gotcha.
All right, so I'll go into the concept of why I believe that like the Earth and universe could be actually younger than what we believe it is.
Okay, go ahead.
And in that aspect is that during the Big Bang, everything happened. Physics and what we know about light and time hadn't actually solidified yet. So during the creation of all the stars and dark matter and everything, it hadn't actually solidified with time because time is relative. Also, it deals with speed and everything. So when we think about like millions of miles away from us, that time that took over there could be millions of years old. But then you consider the time that we have here during to like terms of the concept of relativity.
So we have a pretty good understanding of like the differences in the rate of time flow in different parts of the universe and different moments of and different times in the universe. Yeah. And so like when we say the universe is 13.8 billion years old, what we're referring to is a particular reference frame. It's the cosmological reference frame, if you will. And in that reference frame, the universe, at least it's the best estimates is that the Big Bang happened about 13.8 billion years ago.
Yeah. I know that.
So, but like relativity doesn't help you out there.
Yeah, well, so the concept would be that our what we consider time, like the formation that it took to gain all the elements to be what they are, and what we consider to be like, the what we do and different carbon dating and stuff, happened in a different frame of time. Like they happened faster than we thought they did. And today's
But why would we believe that that's the case?
Compared to the time, like when they were formed, is different.
Why would we think that that's the case?
Why? Oh, it's I don't think there would be, like, you would have to be back in that time to be able to measure it.
I mean, so generally physicists and scientists more generally believe that the laws of physics were the same yesterday as they are today,
as they
and so
were
on.
in the beginning.
Do you think that that's not the case?
My concept is that they would have to not be the same.
Okay. You understand that that's something that like we have no evidence of, right?
Yes. Yeah. You would have to be in that time to be able to measure it. So there's no way that we can measure that.
No. Actually, you wouldn't, right?
Really?
So we can see back in time, right? It takes light time to get to us. Yeah. And so the light that we're seeing can be quite a bit older. And we can then look at how the physics was behaving from the origins of where that light came from. So if there's a galaxy that's 1 billion light years away, and you're getting the light now,
we can never see far enough into the back that we can actually see the creation of the universe. Like there's no like,
what do you think the cosmic microwave background radiation is? It's not the creation of the universe, but it's awfully close to it.
Yeah. I know what it is, but I don't know how much detail you can actually get from that.
You can get so much detail. There's like so much that you can learn from it. There's a reason why we built 2 telescopes specifically to study them. But look, Gladius, I'm going to let you go because this isn't the kind of conversation that we're looking for. But thank you so much for being here. All right, let's bring up testimony. Testimony, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, sounds good. Testimony, how old do you think the Earth is?
I would say, based on the biblical evidence, at least about 6,000.
So I would agree that it's at least 6,000 years old. I think the distinction, though, is that you probably think it's not 4.5 billion years old, right?
I wouldn't argue that point, and for the simple fact that I believe that when God created all of creation, the maturity of it was built into it all. For example, like you were just speaking to the last gentleman about the time and the time it takes for light to travel to Earth. The reason that we're able to see light the way that we are is because Earth had to be present in its current position for enough time for the light to actually be able to travel and reach it. So it only makes sense that when God actually made creation, he factored the maturity of the different parts of creation into the equation when he made it. I think people kind of start off with the mindset that everything God created has to start off at some stage of some sort of infancy in order for God to create. When in reality, if God can create it all, he can create everything that he makes with a certain level of maturity and age already pre-built.
Yeah, so why would God make it so that there was light that was already on the way from galaxies that are 10 billion light years away?
Well, scripture talks about how God created everything to ultimately bring glory to him and also show the capability, his capacity and control over all that exists.
Okay, but that doesn't explain why specifically he would make galaxies that appear like they're 10 billion light years away, or that they're giving off light 10 billion light years away.
Well, there's actually scripture for that. He actually talks about how all of creation ultimately glorifies him, and he created it that way because he's the creator. Now,
But this
if
is,
I understand the sense of your question correctly, that would be something that we could only ask God.
well, it's a little bit confusing because it's that kind of thing which actually drives people away from the belief in God. So how does
Why do
that
you say
bring him
Why do
glory?
you say that?
Well, for example, if the fact that we see light that appears as if it's been traveling for billions of years is fairly compelling evidence to a lot of people that the Earth or that the universe is billions of years old.
And I wouldn't disagree of the maturity of creation. I would not disagree with that. So, and let me
I'm not
kind of
talking
give
about
you a little bit
maturity.
of
I'm talking about the way that people perceive this data suggests that it's actually billions of years old, not that it just is young but has the appearance of age.
So when God said, "Let there be light,"
Mm-hmm.
that's all light coming into existence at the same time. So that doesn't mean let there be light and then it has to travel before anyone can see it. Do you see what I'm
Right,
saying?
but if the goal is to bring glory to God, and God produced a universe in a way that leads people away from God, it seems like he's not achieving his ends.
Well, how would it not seem like it's achieving his ends when
Because the
he creates
evidence
a
that he left
universe?
behind, the universe he created, drives people away from him.
No, it doesn't drive people away from him. If anything, I would kind of counter your proposal because if God created a whole universe that's supposed to testify to his glory and magnificence and existence, yet we can't see it because light hasn't traveled yet, the millions of light years that would be necessary for us to see it on Earth, how would that indeed glorify him?
So most of the stars that we can see with our eyes are within a few thousand light years. So in fact, we would be able to see them. Almost every single star that we can see just in the sky with just by looking up, we would be able to see. Even if it was the Earth was created as if it was brand new, right? Just 6,000 years ago, and no light was created while traveling.
I don't disagree with that.
We would be able to see basically everything that we can currently see.
Exactly.
The only thing that we wouldn't be able to see are the ultra distant galaxies that required enormous telescopes to detect.
Which we've to a certain degree we've been able to kind of perceive or observe
For about 100 years.
Yeah, roughly.
But look, those observations are the kinds of observations that have led cosmologists to be overwhelmingly atheist.
I would not agree with that.
So it is just the case that cosmologists are overwhelmingly atheist.
Well, maybe
right.
now, but
when we started being able to observe other galaxies, that's when that started. That's when the trend towards secular positions amongst cosmologists and scientists more generally began.
Okay, so
in the early 1900s.
For a point of curiosity, then, what would you say was the main portion of cosmology? What were they observing that was necessarily making them atheists in your belief?
So, roughly, and you know, we can only speculate because like nobody was taking data on this back then, but this kind of phenomenon probably started with Copernicus, but significantly less so a while ago. So Copernicus, Copernicus, Kepler, all of these folks in the 15 and 16 and 1700s, showing that we're not the center of the universe, right? So Earth was demoted from being the center of the universe, everything orbiting the Earth, to the sun being the center of the universe. Now, that's still plausible under a God model, or under a model where God exists. But then if you then find out that the sun isn't the center of the universe, but it's just one star amongst billions in a galaxy, well, now you think that Earth is significantly less important. And then if you find out that our galaxy isn't even that special, in fact, our galaxy is one galaxy amongst billions. And then if you find out that, you know, our galaxy it's small, or it's fairly small, it's fairly ordinary, our star is fairly small, it's fairly ordinary, you find planets all over the place, it just removes us from being special more and more, and it decenters humanity. And the biblical position is that humanity is very much at the center. And so it's at least plausible to me, it at least makes sense to me, that as our view of humanity got diminished, as our specialness decreased, the amount of people who took, you know, the biblical account seriously also decreased with it.
Okay, so I want to make sure I understand you correctly. You're saying that the biblical view, or the biblical breakdown, says that Earth is at the literal center of the universe, and because as we've learned more, that view has been decentralized and disproven to a degree.
So roughly, I mean, it's not clear in the Bible if it says the Earth is literally the center, but what is clear in the Bible is that humanity is central to the story, right? Humans were created on the last day of creation, for example, right? Humans were granted dominion. And so the moment humanity gets decentered, because we realize not only are we at the center, not only are we not at the center of the universe, our star isn't at the center of the universe, our galaxy isn't at the center of the universe, our galaxy isn't special, there are other planets, all of these factors just remove humans from being the center of the story. At least,
I think that's more,
at least when you take the data in its entirety.
I would say that that's more a matter of feeling, an opinion, because one of the things that scripture is very clear about is that when it comes to life, not just the planet or the sun, God's focus is on Earth. And if you look around, we have not found any life on Earth, on any other planet, on any other rock, or anything else in the universe yet. We have not found life there yet at all. So because of
that's maybe debatable, by the way. But anyway,
we see that's the thing. If we're talking about certainties right now, if we're going to keep this an evidence-based, conversation, we have not found any evidence on any Earth. On
we have found evidence of life on Mars. It's not like 100% proof, but like we definitely have found evidence of life on Mars.
Well, if we're going to go based off of 100% proof, we have 100% proof that we have life on Earth, and we don't have 100% proof that there's life anywhere else, which is in keeping with the biblical breakdown that Earth is the focus of God and the focus of in the centrality of His focus when it comes to creation.
Yeah. So look, and I understand that. Yeah, the centrality of the creation is on humans in the biblical account. I'm just giving you an explanation as to why, because I mean it just is the case that cosmologists are overwhelmingly atheists. That's just like a fact of the matter.
But
amongst
cosmologists, would you say that cosmologists, because let's say if they were all atheists, for example, right? Would that then change the nature of creation?
No. So the only reason I brought this up was because the reason why I started talking about like this kind of decentralization of Earth is because you asked, why do you think it is that like cosmologists are like overwhelmingly atheist? And so I was just giving like a plausible explanation, because we know that this kind of shift away from like theistic science to secular science happened in the early 20th century. Right, you started So that's why I was giving that explanation. Now, the point is the people who study, and the reason I brought up cosmologists being overwhelmingly atheist is because cosmologists, and to some extent, are like the people who study the universe. Oh, where'd he go? Oh, you're welcome back. Are the people who study like the universe and like the shape of the shape and evolution of the universe most closely. Like that is their field of study. And so if the claim is that creation was intended to express the glory of God, to glorify God, then you would think that the people who study his creation most intently would not be overwhelmingly atheist. But the fact that that is the case means that it seems like God's intentions were not realized.
Well, not, but see, now I love that you said this because not realized, but you have to finish the rest of that statement amongst who? Because if you're talking to people who are of the faith and do look at
I'm
creation
talking
from a
amongst the
biblical
people who study
lens,
it.
well, that's the thing. God can only be fully appreciated through a lens of faith. If you're looking to try to appreciate God in His nature as a spiritual being, but you're trying to use the physical to actually do that, you're automatically capped and limited to how much of God you can even appreciate. Would you not agree?
Well, no, I wouldn't agree. So, look, if the goal was to glorify God, then one would think that if the goal of creation was to glorify God, meaning that God made this so that there would be more glory for him, right? That's kind of what glorification means. Well, I guess the best way that God can get more glory is by having more people worship him, right? Like that is the means by which God is glorified.
Well, God's glory and God being glorified happened before creation and will always continue to happen. What I'm saying
So
is
what do you mean
this.
by glorified then? Because maybe you and I are thinking about that term in different ways.
So, like for example, right now, if you were to ask, let's say, a room of 20 to 30 different people what they believe is the reason or the way creation came about, you're going to get a number of different opinions. So you might have some people that say, some kind of unexplainable phenomenon may have taken place. Some people might say Big Bang Theory, or some people might say a being outside of time, space, and matter who was able to put all of time, space, and matter together, created what we perceive. So, depending on the perception of the person, that's going to automatically limit or expand or just narrow what they believe the existence that we're currently living in right now is really all about. So, your view, your lens in which you look at creation is ultimately going to dictate how you feel about what you perceive. So, you have some people that believe that, hey, science explains creation. I don't agree to that. I believe creation existed before science, and science is trying its best to understand creation.
So I don't know how that answered my question. I just don't know what you mean by glorify?
Glorify as in basically attributing the magnificence and capacity and the awesomeness of God to him.
Right. So in order for God to be more glorified, you would need more people doing that attribution, right?
Yes, but God already said in his word that not everyone will do that because of free will, some of us will choose not to. Some of us will choose to look at all that is good about God and say, you know what? I'd rather do evil because it seems more fun.
That's kind of irrelevant though. Like if the goal
No, it's not irrelevant though.
Testimony.
Because how we feel about what we perceive changes how we explain it.
Look, my point is that if God's goal in creation was to glorify him, meaning to have more people appreciate and attribute what he did to him, right? Yes. I.e., God created the universe so that more people would believe in him, would attribute the creation of the universe with him. Well, then he's failed.
No, not
so. So then what does it mean what does it mean for God created everything to glorify him?
It's not that he created it just so that it would. It's just so that it testifies to him. It's a
so
testimony.
Why did God create it then? Why did God create these distant galaxies?
So it's not that just because it exists and you look at it and you see it means you automatically will attribute it to God. That's not what I'm saying.
So why did God create these distant galaxies?
It's a test. Tell you what, let me give you the Bible verse for it instead, because I don't want to. Give me a second. Give me just a second.
Okie doke.
So let's say, for example, if you were to go to Psalms 19, chapter 19, verse 1, it says, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and proclaim and the skies proclaim the works of his hands."
So when you say they proclaim, like, I understand that this is a metaphor. When we say that, like, the skies proclaim the glory of God, right? My understanding of that, sorry, I just got a text message. My understanding of that verse is something along the lines of the beauty, or, their appearance, or some feature of them will lead people to believe that God is glorious. Something like that, right?
Sort of, more
like the sky can't literally talk, but the sky is in some sense telling people that God is glorious.
Yes.
And yet, what seems to be the case is that you take people who are otherwise undecided, perhaps. They go out and they look at the sky, or perhaps they were Christians. They go out, they look at the sky, they study the universe, and they come out not believing that God is glorious, but believing that God doesn't exist.
Well, again,
it seems like that it's just the opposite of what God is saying.
But the same is true for the people that do look at the sky, the universe, earth, and all that exists, and are in complete awe. So the same is that statement can be said on either side of the discussion.
All I'm saying is that it's very surprising that if it were the case that God created the sky to glorify him, it would be very surprising that when then people look at the sky, they end up at the opposite conclusion.
Well, that's not surprising at all when you look at it from a biblical lens. For example, if we go all the way back to Genesis, the way that we were supposed to perceive, God, creation, and the relationship that we were supposed to have with God has been completely broken down because we fell into sin. And because we fell into sin, now we are more prone to rejecting God than we are to accepting God, who God is, goodness, or anything that he created. We don't appreciate God anywhere near the capacity or the way that we were supposed to from day one in Genesis.
But then it just means that the way that he created the universe doesn't do what he wanted it to do.
No, it's not. That's not what it means. Again, I go back to Genesis. The fall that happened in the garden from the level of our very nature turned us away from God.
Sure.
So now when we
the sky doesn't do what he wants it to do.
When we perceive, no, it's not. This guy doesn't do what it wants us to do. Now we look at goodness and we still reject it from time to time because now we have a nature that does not seek to honor and glorify God the way it was supposed to.
Look, it's just not.
We've corrupted ourselves,
and that's fine. But the sky is still not doing what God wanted it to do.
To some people, but it is doing it for others.
To most cosmologists.
And right now, I believe you would agree that if everybody said that carbon dating is not a form of science, that would be wrong, correct?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Let's say if everyone said carbon dating is not a form of science, would that
if
be wrong?
Everybody said that carbon dating is not a form of science? Yes. Yeah, they'd be wrong.
They would be wrong, but carbon dating is still a form of science. So what I'm saying is,
I'm not appealing to popularity here.
How many people feel something?
I'm not appealing to popularity here. I'm not making an argument ad populum. Like, that's not what I'm doing. I'm not saying, I'm not
saying that it's not bringing God glory.
I'm not saying, cosmologists are atheists, therefore cosmologists are correct. What I'm saying is that it is surprising that the people who study the thing that's supposed to bring God glory the most are the people who are overwhelmingly atheist. That's surprising. Honestly, so look, testimony, if it's the case that some people were turned away from, like humanity was turned away from God, and that, we have free will and all of this, you would think that most people who don't study this stuff, they would be atheist, and then the people who dig deep, they would be the people that would find God. But it's the opposite that happens.
I don't believe that most people look at the skies and are not in awe and wonder of creation.
The people who study them By the way, the people the cosmologists, the people who study the universe as a whole, these people are significantly less likely to believe in God than the average population.
Okay, so okay, if you're not making a popularity argument, then you're basically trying to say that on some level that cosmologists are some sort of arbiters of truth in some way, or
Nope,
some
it's
type
not the
of
argument I'm making.
perception in some way. Then
What I'm
because you're
saying is
trying
that there is
to.
something unexpected happening. Like, look, let me give an analogy that maybe will help explain my view. So if I said, let's say that I'm a designer, right? I design, or maybe I'm an inventor of some kind, right? Actually, no. Let's say I'm a game developer, right? I design a game I design a game with the intent that with the goal that it's like this really deep thing, and it has like all of these layers and stuff, and you know, I leave little Easter eggs in various places for you know, for people to go find, just because, you know, I like really want to like imbue I want to imbue myself into the game that I make. Now, one would think that the casuals, the people who are just playing the game, like, you know, for half an hour a night with their buddies or whatever, the casuals, they're not going to notice all of the deep features that I left behind to you know, to impart myself onto the game. But the people who are dedicated to the game, the people who play it for 8 hours a day, whatever, we would expect that they would be the people who would see all of the Easter eggs, who would get all of the little messages I left behind for them, just because they're the deepest into the game. They are the most familiar with how things work. They're the ones who spend the most time thinking about it. And so one would expect that the people who study it the most would pick up on these details the most effectively. And similarly, we would expect that if God's goal with the sky was to glorify him, was to send a message that he is glorious, then you'd think the people who study the sky the most would be the people who would pick up on that message most effectively. But we see the opposite.
So here's what I want to say first off. I always go into every discussion trying to be as open-minded as possible, because I always take the stance that I could learn something from you even if I don't agree with you. So we took the presupposition that cosmologists are the vast majority of them are atheists, when anyone can go Google right now, and I challenge anyone in the actual chat to go Google the fact that no, not all cosmologists are atheists.
I never said all. I never said all.
It's a mix of, you know, agnostic, you know, religious.
Here, let me show you
some
something.
of them are atheists. So you have a whole mix, just like you do in any other scientific practice, right?
Let me show you something.
So yeah, go for it.
Here's a paper.
Well, look, again, and all you would need was, here's the thing: if we can't get specific ratios and percentages of who believes in what, then
I can get you those if you want.
We're talking. We're going back to what I was saying before. We're going based off of feelings, and we're also.
Do you want me to get you that?
Cosmologists. Give me a second though. If we're attributing to cosmologists some sort of, hey, because they study this field, their opinion has more weight than everybody else's.
We're not talking about their opinion. We're talking about the fact that they are the most likely to, if God was actually doing this, we're talking about the fact that they are the most likely people to come to that conclusion, because they're the people who study it the most.
Because unless we can actually speak to cosmologists and actually converse with them.
You're speaking to one right now, by the way.
Yeah, but you don't represent all cosmologists.
So then why did you say unless we can speak to cosmologists?
And plural, and not individual.
So
unless we could actually speak to them and
would you be interested in knowing that you know, as of so are you familiar with the National Academy of Science?
Yes.
Okay, so the National Academy of Sciences is in some sense like, it's like the elite membership for, like, it's like these are scientists at the top of their field. These aren't your like just everyday scientists. So there was a study conducted in 1998. I can show it to you right now. I have it pulled up. There's oops, this is the wrong one. Sorry, one sec. There was a study conducted in 1998. Here we go. This was like basically it's less a study and more like a survey, because it's not like there's not a whole lot to do here. So they basically sampled a large population of members of the National Academy of Science, and what they found in 1998 was that 72%, I can zoom in, 72% had personal disbelief in a personal God in 1998. 20.8% had doubt or agnosticism, and only 7% of these people who are members of the National Academy of Sciences believe in a personal God.
Again, now you're basic again, so I'm going to keep on going back to this. You're saying that because of these people being in this field that study this specific thing, their opinion, because they study this, has more weight, correct?
Nope, that's not. Look, the only reason I brought this up was because you were doubting the data that I was claiming that the vast majority of cosmologists don't believe in God.
Well, no, I didn't say. Listen, so here's what I'm
I
explaining.
mean, you did. You brought that into question, so I showed you a paper and I showed you a study.
Let me explain this to you. So again, the part that I'm focusing on is this. You're saying that because cosmologists who are in the field of a specific study, that you feel they're supposed to be able to be the most receptive of God's glory in creation, right?
Well, yeah, they're the people who study the cosmos, right?
Okay.
That's who cosmologists are.
Yes, and I'm confirming what you're saying because I want to
Yep.
make sure I understand your point of view. You're saying that because they study, so you're saying because cosmologists are in that specific study, they're the ones that are supposed to be most receptive of what God created to be, to testify to His glory, correct?
Well, it's hard to
That's
say
what
what they're
you're saying.
Not quite. So it's hard to say what each individual cosmologist's personal disposition is when they go into the field, right? Like it's just hard to say. Like presumably people who go into cosmology, at least setting demographics aside, are probably a pretty even distribution of people who believe in God, who don't believe in God, whatever. They're probably a pretty even slice of the population of whatever country you're in. The point is when they come out, when they come out, they're much more likely to be atheist. When they finish their PhD, when they do their research, whatever. When you ask a cosmologist later in their career, they're more likely to be atheist. That's the point.
But if I could make the argument that right now, if you send if you send any kid to any of these liberal colleges right now, they're most likely to come out a liberal, left leaning. We can make that argument.
You're right. You could, and that's because when you get more informed on the facts, you end up liberal.
No, come on, man. Okay, so you're saying that all of a sudden, as colleges have become more liberal, all of a sudden the graduates now are coming out overwhelmingly more liberal. That it has nothing to do with the beliefs of the institutions themselves.
So I don't know what it means for an institution to have a belief. What I can tell you is that professors, people who teach at these institutions, are generally more left-leaning and are generally more secular than the the average population of, say, the United States. Now, the reason for that is very, very interesting. I'm sure that there's plenty of studies to try to understand why it is the case that people who are more highly educated are more likely to, or are less likely to believe in God and are more likely to be left-leaning. That's a whole separate conversation. But the fact of the matter is, this was true.
It's not separate because the point that I'm making
is not separate. Okay.
The institutions that are teaching the so-called graduates of the future, graduates that are in these specific studies, have not only politically but overwhelmingly become more left-leaning. So now you have the belief of abortions being okay has skyrocketed. What was it just recently? Jordan Peterson, now they classified what he was saying as hate speech when he wasn't even attacking genders per se. But what happened was because the political and
it seems like a very big pivot.
Shifted. Say it again.
It just seems like a big pivot. It seems like now you're ranting against liberal institutions.
What I'm saying is, if the point of view of the institutions and the popular narratives play a huge role in how their graduates view whatever particular area of study that they're coming from. You don't agree?
Look, so the issue is that we need to talk about the origin of this phenomenon. It wasn't always the case. Like if you go back 100 years ago, it wasn't always the case that most cosmologists or most people who like most astronomers believed in God. That just wasn't always the case. And so somehow it shifted to the case that now it is the case. So why is that the case? Maybe it's because we've learned more about the world.
Tell you what, because you have the benefit of bringing up studies that you already have, set before you. I want to make sure I look up a few things just to make sure as well. So we have, let's see, Galileo was Catholic, Sir Isaac Newton.
Yeah. So prior to the 20th century, most of these people were very religious. It was very common to be a scientist and be very religious prior to the 20th century. Now the question
But
is,
why do you think that's so?
so I can't comment on like sociology or like, you know, like biologists or whatever. But
we are,
hold on.
But that's
Hold
essentially
on.
about.
I'm not. Please let me finish. As far as why astronomy and cosmology shifted so suddenly, because it's a very dramatic shift. Like if you go look at like chemists are like less likely to be atheists than like cosmologists are, right? So it's very dramatic.
Well, could you elaborate on that? Could you expand on that real quick?
Yeah, like cosmologists are like one of the most atheist groups.
No, I'm saying, well,
among
chemists,
scientists.
So, like, what is it that makes them different from chemists? Out of
Oh,
curiosity.
it's just a different field of science.
Well, no, is there anything specific that?
Yeah,
makes it
I was
different?
getting to that. So the point is that cosmologists, these are people who study our lack of centrality in the universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not surprising that people who study and understand how very unspecial we are, how very typical our planet is, our star is, our galaxy is, the people who study that, of course they're going to come to the conclusion that, oh, we're just not that special.
But that I thought we talked about that part already. We have 100% evidence that there's life on Earth, and we have no certainty at all that there's life on any other planet, or ever was
Look,
life on any other planet.
So
And
I'm
you're
not
saying that that's not special?
You'll have to talk to the 90% of cosmologists as to why they don't think Earth is special. I'm just telling you what the conclusion. I'm just telling you why cosmologists likely ended up the way that they currently are.
Okay, but I want to make sure I say this because I want to understand. I want to make sure I'm on the same page with you. You're saying that in this universe, that then the known universe that we're able to perceive, we have 100% evidence that life only exists on Earth, and that doesn't make Earth special.
Look, I believe that Earth is a pretty special place. I'm telling you why cosmology ended up the way that it is.
Well, I would say this.
I'm giving you an explanation as to why there are certain beliefs. You might say that those beliefs are ill-formed, but that's irrelevant for why those beliefs exist to begin with.
Here's my thing. 100% of cosmologists could say that Earth isn't special. And just normal observation from what even cosmologists would agree to, life only exists on Earth. That is beyond more special than anything else, any other metric you could bring up.
Well, I mean, if Earth was literally the center of the universe, that'd probably be more special. Like,
I don't know. The center of the universe that you're referring to, I thought I explained that from the biblical lens as well. That's the center of God's focus in creation.
No, I know. Well, I'm saying you're not understanding. If the Earth was literally the center, that would definitely bolster this view that like, oh, humanity is special somehow.
Over the existence of life?
Yeah, because like it was announced like a month or two ago that like there is now pretty strong evidence of microscopic life on Mars.
Okay,
for example.
So, but let's go back to the centrality point that you made. So, figuring out the point of the universe that's at the center is more special than life existing
I mean, like
only on Earth.
it just depends on your views. Like if you think one is more special than the other, that's like a subjective thing. All I'm saying is, yeah, of course it's subjective.
So wait, so what is it that's so significant about the center, the center of the universe over life?
Look, this is just like you're asking like why some people think that one thing is more important than another thing. That's a subjective question.
No, that's not my question. Because you seem from what you're saying, if I correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying that there's an extreme significance about what's at the center of the universe, right?
If it were the case that the Earth were at the center, then it would be very, very surprising that the Earth is at the center. So we would have good reason to think that the Earth is in fact special.
So Earth would need to be at the center of the universe to carry the same special significance that it has now?
It's not at all what I'm saying. And this is like a complete pivot, and it's a complete derailment.
No,
the reason
it's not a pivot.
because whether or not you think the Earth is actually special, whether or not you think the cosmologists are wrong, is irrelevant for the point that I'm making. Namely, the people who study this stuff for their day job, they are people who are less likely to believe that God is glorious, and that should be surprising to you.
But they're just as prone to being wrong as everybody else.
Yeah, but they are the ones that you would expect to be least likely to be wrong about this, because they spend their time studying this. That's their day job.
But as a cosmologist yourself, you stated that the thing that would have made this pivot the other way is if Earth was at the center of the universe,
Mm-hmm.
that would make it special enough to warrant the.
That would have stopped my guess, and I'm speculating because we're talking about sociology from 100 years ago. But my guess is if, in the early if in the early 1900s we found that, all of the galaxies are orbiting around our galaxy, and all of the stars in our galaxy are orbiting around our star, and then that would definitely point to, there's something special here. That would definitely make people lean the other direction, I would speculate. Yeah.
Okay, well, again, that I would say that's a matter of opinion.
Yes, it
But
is.
I guess the only argument that I would make is that the location of our universe in comparison to life only existing on Earth is there's a very that's unbalanced. And that's how I feel about it.
To be clear,
I feel like Earth being at the center of the universe, and
I think
Earth being the only planet that we know of that has actual life on it is way more significant than what's at the center of the universe.
So just to be clear, we've checked like 3 places for life ish, and we found evidence of life on one of the ones that's not Earth. So to say that like, we know that there's life on Earth, we do know that there's life on Earth, and that we don't know that there's life anywhere else, like that's like saying, what would be a good analogy for this?
That would be you're using the lack of evidence as evidence.
I'm not doing that. That would be like going to like a Chinese restaurant and then dipping your hand into the lobster, like the lobster the lobster tank, like dipping your hand into the lobster tank and being like, what are the odds that a lobster's in here? Like, we've only really checked like a few places besides the lobster tank. So like we just don't know. We just don't know how common life is, how rare life is.
Well, see, I don't agree with that, because cosmologists have stated that not only do certain conditions need to be met to even sustain life, but off of observation alone, we're able to observe a number of planets or other spatial bodies that don't meet the conditions to sustain life.
So to be clear, we don't have the tech or the observational ability to check whether other planets outside of our solar system have life. We don't have the ability to do that. What we can do is we can kind of like we can like get indirect measurements of the spectrum of the atmospheres of some particular exoplanets and check whether those atmospheres might contain certain chemicals that might be related to life or not. But that's the best that we can do, at least as it stands. Like, the only places that we've actually checked for life are Mars, the moon, and kind of Venus. Not even really Venus, but like maybe, and then of course Earth. And we now have evidence of life on Mars. It's not definitive, but we do have evidence of life on Mars. We have no evidence of life on the moon. And like, we know that rocky planets are common, planets like Earth. Those are very common. We know that most stars have planets. On average, each star has like 1 or 2 planets or something like this. And so the requirements for life, that it's a certain distance from its star, that it's, not a gaseous planet, these things are actually very, very common. Now, what we don't know is we don't know how rare it is to actually find life on places where those conditions are met. That's a question that we just don't know the answer to yet. It might be far more common than we think, given that we've now found evidence of life on Mars, and that would be two planets in one solar system. But it's still up in the air.
Okay, so with that being said, I guess my question for you would be: would it be rational to make an assumption that, based on what we know right now, that there is or is not life on those other planets?
It would be rational to assume that
if you had to lean towards one.
I have a high degree of certainty that there is life elsewhere in the universe, and I'm speculating here, but I would suspect that if you asked like any astrophysicist or any cosmologist, they would probably agree with me.
Okay, that's interesting. So I would definitely be open to exploring that. I would say, but just going back over to what we were originally speaking on, the point that we were originally speaking on. Look, cosmologists are prone to being wrong just as anybody else is. When it comes down to the evidence of what Scripture says and versus the point that you brought up about the 6,000 years old, I would say that Earth is at least 6,000 years old. If and I believe that the maturity of creation was built into it. For example, Adam wasn't, and when Adam was made, he wasn't made an infant; he was made a man. So, with that being said, Adam was made with age. He wasn't made an infant who just laid on the garden in the middle of the field, in the middle of a field somewhere. So, because Scripture points to that in terms of as a ramification as to how God went about creating creation, I think it's very fair to say that all of creation had its age built into it when God created it.
Yeah.
It didn't.
So
When God said, "Let there be light," it didn't. He didn't say, "Let there be light," and then
I
light had
understand. You don't need to
travel
preach.
before it could be perceived. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, and I guess we can call it here.
Yeah.
But I just want to point out that the original, and just to kind of bring us full circle, the original claim was that, oh, well, you know, the universe looks old because God made it appear with age. And we ended up down this rabbit hole of why God created it this way, why God created it so it looks like it has age, even though it doesn't.
Well, I didn't say it looks like it has age, but does it? But it doesn't. I never said
well,
that.
no, I mean, it does, like the age of something is how long a thing has existed. So like it looks like it's mature, even though it hasn't existed for long enough to reach that level of maturity on its own, right?
What I'm saying is God created with age. So
Adam
wasn't
okay,
made
that's
infinite.
a separate issue. That doesn't even make sense. Age is how long something has existed, so it's impossible to create something with age. But you can create something with the appearance of age, certainly.
It's impossible for us in
no,
our understanding.
it's like
If
logically
God-
impossible to create something with age, right? Like
So you're saying
age
the
is
God that
defined as the
created-
length of time that something has existed. A thing cannot have existed for longer than it's existed.
So when God made Adam, Adam was a man.
He was mature and he was an adult, but he was still 0 years old.
When I say age, I'm referring to the maturity in that.
Yeah,
point.
yeah. So that's why I say the appearance of age. Appearance
But
of age.
maturity doesn't mean the appearance, because remember,
Sure, it
you were
does.
saying so you're saying that, okay, so are you saying that carbon dating would be different because God made it mature already?
Yeah, that's presumably what you believe.
No, I'm asking you. So carbon dating would be different, even though
think
God
God
already
exists.
made it with maturity.
I don't
So
think-
God made it with maturity. With the way we measure with carbon dating be different because God made it with maturity already.
Well, if your view is that God can make things with maturity, then you can't use carbon dating whatsoever to come to any correct conclusions, because you don't know if the thing was created with maturity a week ago or 10,000 years ago. Like, it's just impossible to come to any correct conclusions because you just can't know. And look, that's the issue. The issue is that if God creates things with maturity, then God is essentially placing evidence of something's age while not actually being that age, while the thing is not actually that old, which is that's a type of deception. Now, you could say that some kinds of deception are reasonable. You wouldn't want Adam to be created as an infant, because then he would just die. He couldn't fend for himself. So it's not deception. It's just because there's no goal to convince otherwise of what's true. Adam was just created with age or with maturity because he needs to, so that he can function. But unless there's a necessary explanation for why God created, say, lead in high ratios in zircon crystals, light traveling from galaxies 10 billion light years away, unless there's an explanation for those things, then it just seems like deception, which is the typical explanation.
I don't agree with the deception part, because wouldn't you agree that time, space, and matter had to come into existence all at the same time?
No.
Okay, so if you have matter, where would you put it?
So to be clear, at least in classical understandings, you need space at least, perhaps time, for matter to exist, but you don't need matter for space and time to exist.
No, I'm saying
I also don't think that there was nothing and then there was something. That's not my view.
But okay, out of curiosity, what is your view then?
I'm pretty agnostic about it. I think that there was never nothing, though. But look,
there was never nothing, but then something came out of.
No, there wasn't nothing. There was never nothing.
Okay, there was never nothing, but then how did we arrive to something?
Because there's always something. At every moment of time, there was something.
What's the origins of that something then?
I don't think that there was like I don't think that there was an origin where there was nothing and then there was something. It's not my view.
So you don't believe in the beginning then?
Well, it's a little bit complicated. I don't think that there was ever nothing. I think it's possible that there was a first moment of time, but that there could have been a timeless existence before that. But anyway, testimony. We are getting off topic, and I do want to move on to another guest. But thank you so much for being here. It was a delight.
Yeah, I appreciate you conversing with me.
Have a good one. All right, let's bring up Theosophical Wanderings. Oh, I'm sorry. Before Theosophical Wanderings, before you come up, I'm going to kick you for a second. Feel free to join the box again. I want to read super chats really quick. So just give me 1 second, then I'll bring you up, okay? Because I've missed like all of them. So we have $2 from Lord of Gonzo. Thank you, good doctor. Well, you're welcome. We have $10 from Dr. Pizza MD. Is time a byproduct of movement through space? All of the universe is moving, and nothing is technically stationary as it expands away from the initial point. So at least like the modern like cosmological and kind of like quantum understanding is no, time is not a byproduct of movement. Time is just like a feature of reality. It's just like how space is a feature of reality. We have 30 UYU. I don't know what that is, but thank you for the 30 UYU. The caller is a clown. I think that this was the caller before last. So yeah, that caller was a clown. Lincoln Myers sent a corgi for 1,000 joules, which I appreciate greatly. Thank you, Lincoln. And Lincoln sent a bubble heart for 1,500 joules. That's 2,500 joules total from Lincoln. We have Fears interaction. Can we get a crystallologist in the house? Yeah, we could. They're called geologists, right? Let me just finish scrolling through. By the way, everybody who's sending 10 joules or 1 joule or 1 gem or whatever, I appreciate it. There's just too many of you. I can't read all of them. Craftinator sends $2. The video game Easter egg analogy was amazing. Well, I appreciate that. It was off the dome, if you will. Aaron Leitz sends $10. Always anticipate the apologist will attempt to make his or her position unfalsifiable by appealing to a just so story. Well, yeah. I mean, that's normal. That's normal human interaction. Then we have Boogie with the $2. Caller drank Joe Rogan Kool-Aid. Different caller. I don't think that he was a Joe Rogan fan, was he? Well, maybe he was with the liberal stuff. Aaron sends $10 again. Thank you so much, Aaron. Wait, did I already read that? Oh, we sent it again. Always anticipate the apologist will attempt to make his or her position unfalsifiable by appealing to a just so story. Oh, okay. Well, guess we're doing it again. And that's it. So thank you guys so much for the super chats. Let's bring on Theosophical Wanderings.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can. Theosophical Wanderings, your name looks familiar. Have we spoken before?
No, we've never spoken. I recently heard your name. I was on Trust But Verify. He mentioned you. And I have spoken a couple times to Ian.
Okay.
And I've had some great conversations with him. And I guess probably through that relationship, I started looking for you. And I saw you guys kind of yesterday you were in. I hopped in the chat yesterday, but I was working, so I couldn't.
Sure.
I think you mentioned you asked me to come into the chat to talk. You guys were talking about fine tuning. But I've heard of you. I saw that you collaborate with Ian. Trust But Verify also mentioned you. Cool. So I just had a couple questions for you. You know, I'm a Christian, and I did, especially from yesterday's conversation, I have no idea who the guy you were talking to, but you were just discussing fine tuning. And I want to get some clarification because I think you said you don't believe in fine tuning.
So just to be clear, the topic today is not just whether or not God exists. The topic today is specifically about the age of the earth or the age of the universe. So how old do you think the universe is?
Oh, man, I'm open to an old earth. I accept the science on that. So I'm not really prepared to debate on that. I just wanted to, well, where can I get your views on fine tuning in case you discuss that?
So I will do, I don't know where you can get them. I don't know if they're like posted anywhere. And I'll just briefly mention them. But if you want to talk about that in more detail, you can come back when I do just like an atheist theist debate, which I do like once a week on like Thursday or Friday or something like that. I'll do that later this week. But roughly my position is that it is not clear what the probability distribution we should assign to the fundamental constants are. We have a single data point. It's not really enough to actually come to any conclusions about what the probability distribution should be. And so I'm pretty agnostic about whether or not there is even fine tuning at all.
Okay, so you would deny certain things like, like Martin Rees saying, he was talking about the cosmological constant,
well,
the value being one part.
At least in my view.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you think that that's not a problem? Like anything could, even if you adjust that, the universe will still.
I don't think there is a cosmological constant, by the way.
Okay. Or even something like gravity or the nuclear force. You don't think anything happens when you change those?
It's not clear to me that they can be changed. It's not clear to me what the probability distributions are. So look, it might be the case that, like, suppose for a moment that they could have been different. We don't know if they could have been different, but suppose for a moment that they could have. Then it might be the case that the probability of it being the value that it is now is like 99%, right? And that the probability of it being anything else is quite small, in which case there's no fine tuning. This was the likely outcome. So we just don't know whether or not these things could have been different. And if they could have been different, we don't know how to assign probabilities for the different values that they could have taken on.
Okay, so we can probably pin that for the discussion on fine tuning at some point. One other question. Now, this is something Trust But Verify told me. He said that you deny. You don't think, this is in regards to entropy, you don't think the universe is a closed system? Is that correct?
I don't think it's correct to say that the universe is a closed system. I mean, like, it depends on who you ask what a closed system is. Chemists will say it's one thing, physicists will say it's another thing. So, like, it's just the case that, like, it depends on your definition of closed system. If you take a closed system to be a system in which there's no energy flow in or out and there's no matter flow in or out, then yes, absolutely, the universe is not a closed system because we know that energy is not conserved globally in our universe. But it depends on how you define the terms.
Right. Would you say that entropy has increased over the age of the universe?
It's not even clear to me if we can define entropy of the universe as a whole.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to get some clarification on that. And so what days do you do your lives? Just so
Monday, Thursday, Friday.
Can try to plan. Monday, Thursday, Friday.
And if you want to do the God debate on I don't think I'm busy on Thursday. If you want, I can pin the God debate for Thursday. So that you can just have like a good day that works for you.
Okay, I would hate for you to make plans, and I can't. I actually was when you guys were in your live yesterday. I'm actually in the middle of doing the Blue Origin launch, so things keep changing. Yeah, so I'm like, I'd hate to say, hey, I'll be there, and then something. Well, okay, like we got scrubbed yesterday. So
how about this? I will do my live on whatever day I feel like, either Thursday or Friday. If you can make it, great. If you can't make it, that's fine. And then and if you can't make it on either of those days, then come back on Sunday to Unapologetic, and I'll tell the fellas to bring you up.
Okay, sounds good, man. Appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for being here.
Yes, sir. Bye bye.
All right, let's talk to another guest. Let's talk to Cody. Cody, how's it going?
Yo, what's up, bro?
Doing all right. You have a face mask on.
It's cold as fuck.
Where are you that it's so cold? I mean, I guess I believe you that it's like.
I'm in Mississippi. It's
is it really that cold in Mississippi this time of year? Okay. Well, anyway, Cody. So
pretty cool.
I believe it. So I need to check. Are you 18 plus?
Yeah. I'm 25.
And how old do you think the Earth is?
In my opinion, I think the Earth was made separately than the universe. I think that was like a completely different thing.
Okay, so how old do you think the Earth is?
The universe could be like fucking trillions of years old for all I know. But I never really went for the belief of that the Earth is like 6,500 years old just because the Bible says it.
Sure.
But as I get older and I've researched ancient civilizations and the correlations between like mechanical engineering and stuff. I didn't really dive that deep into like quantum physics and shit like that, but like it makes you wonder like if they're really aliens or if they're just fallen angels, and you have to agree that it's either one of those.
I don't.
And
wait, what are we talking about? I don't think any aliens have been here.
Why do you think that?
Because I haven't seen any particularly compelling evidence.
I mean, to me personally, I don't believe they're aliens. I think they're fallen angels.
Well, I don't think any. I don't think that any non-human intelligences have been on Earth.
Really?
Yeah.
So how do you explain they built the pyramids of Giza, Machu Picchu, Göbekli Tepe?
So
like
I actually, sorry, one sec. So I'm actually not sure that Göbekli Tepe is like all that impressive. Like, I mean, it's impressive for the time.
12,500 years old.
But like, the pyramids of Giza are probably more impressive than Göbekli Tepe, right? Like, because they're a lot bigger.
I would say. I mean, it depends on the type of architecture, like the layout, like how they build it. Like Teotihuacan is very complex in terms of its architecture, but it's not as big. Like there's drill cuts in there that are just not possible.
Well, so let me just answer this. I think that humans built the pyramids. I'm sure that, like, I'm not familiar with all of the different, you know, architectural, like, I haven't read up into Teotihuacan. I'm mildly familiar with Göbekli Tepe, but like, I would imagine that, like, there's compelling evidence that humans built all of these things. Like, we even have a journal record of one of the people who was involved with building the pyramids. Like, we have it preserved, we have it in his hand. And so it just seems very implausible that, like, or it seems unnecessary to, you know, demand. No, it was Mirror. There was it was a foreman for a block transporting crew. So he led a team of 40 people who was involved in the processing of stone blocks and then transporting them along the Nile and then moving them off of the boat. He was involved in one of those crews.
Look, the question I asked is mainly about transportation. It's not even about where they get it from or how they cut it out. Or
yeah, but we have the records of one of the guys who transported them.
I mean, they could say that they did that and exactly.
Why would this guy lie about it? Why would this random Egyptian guy from like 4,000 or 5,000 years ago lie about this?
I mean, why would Jesus lie?
Oh, who says that he did? Like, we don't have any of his. We don't have any writings from Jesus, right?
That's your whole assumption.
Well, no, we don't have any writings that Jesus wrote. We don't even, like, I don't even think that Jesus knew how to write. But like, we have the writing of this guy specifically.
Yeah, I got
like it's like a manuscript that, like, so it was found, like, you know, 10 years ago or something like this.
How did he say that he got 75 to 150 ton blocks with regular boats across kilometers of water?
I mean, once you have a boat, once it's on a boat, it's not that hard, right?
It would have to be a barge.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it was like a sailboat, right?
Yeah.
So like
I'm not even that smart, but I know that the buoyancy of something, 75 tons to 150 tons, that shit's just not going to work. It's simple as that.
I mean, you know that, like, modern ships can transport way more than that, right?
Yeah, but
so like barges. It's not like, and like the buoyancy issues are not different. So like the point is that, like, we definitely, like, this was a guy who was involved. So I'll just read you a summary. So we have a papyrus that describes several months of work with the transportation of limestones from quarries Tura North and Tura South to Giza in the 27th year of the reign of the pharaoh Khufu. Though the diary does not specify where this...
not to interrupt you, but does he mention diorite at all?
Does he mention what? Diorite?
Does he mention diorite? Like,
I don't know what diorite is, and I can't read Egyptian, so I don't know what diorite is. It a type of stone?
Well, yes, it's a little bit less harder.
They probably didn't call it that at the time, so I don't know.
Yeah, you gotta. That's true.
But like, so.
I know they didn't call it limestone though.
So every 10 days, and this is what we have in the journal. Every 10 days, 2 or 3 round trips were done, shipping perhaps 30 blocks of 2 to 3 tons each, amounting to 200 blocks per month. About 40 boatmen worked under Mirror. The period covered in the papyri extends from July to November.
Like, I'm not really good with math, but could you break that down in math terms and then see how many years that would take? And then cross-reference that to how long.
Well, I mean, he wasn't the only one transporting. We don't have reason to think that he was.
A singular crew.
Yeah, he was just one crew of about 40 boatmen.
Okay.
So they moved around 200 blocks per month.
40 boatmen. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, that worked under him. He was
But there were people on the crew. Like,
it's not clear if it was 40 boats or if it was like 40 people working on 10 boats or something like this. He was in charge of a crew, right?
Yeah.
And so like it's just not so unsurprising to me that this is something that could have been done. And I mean, like, just for the record, like, I understand that some of the blocks were much heavier than a few tons, but there is a very famous stone called the Thunderstone, which was dragged in Russia a few hundred years ago. Let me pull it up. It's the Thunderstone, which was, and it's actually part of a statue that still exists. The Thunderstone was weighed, how much did it weigh? During transportation, it weighed 1,250 tons. And they didn't, all they used were people pulling it.
Just think about that. Just think about that.
We have,
like,
we have pictures of this happening.
The most sophisticated, yeah, I know, but if you look at the most sophisticated vehicles used to transport large things like that, like, you would need, like, dude, you know what I'm saying? Like, you would need sophisticated shit.
No, you really don't. So we actually know how the Thunderstone was moved from location to location. It was moved like a few miles, and so they directed workmen to wait. This was in Russia. So they directed the workmen to wait for winter when the ground was frozen. And then they had them drag the stone over the frozen ground to the sea for shipment, because they were dragging it to the ocean so that they could put it on a boat and move it. They had a metallic sled, so it was a sled made out of metal that slid over bronze spheres. So instead, they didn't even have wheels for this thing. They just put bronze balls on the ground, on the ice, and then they had the sled slide on top of it.
But how did they get the leverage? How did they get it to go over it?
To go on top of the sled?
To get on top of the bronze balls. How did they get it to go
ramps
over it
and hundreds of people pulling.
Yeah. But like
I mean, this is like people
that would take like thousands of years.
No, it wouldn't take thousands of years. This took, I think, 9 months.
Like, all the resources around them would be completely like
here's the issue.
If that's true, then
here's the issue
around them, like the wood areas, would be gone.
So
they would have had to use the wood.
Here's the issue. The point is that this is like really well documented records. This only happened 250 years ago. And so, like, we have a painting of this happening. We know the names of the people who are involved. We have, like, you know, documents, and we have manuscripts and all of these things of exactly how the Thunderstone was moved. And it was moved with basically the same technology that the Egyptians could have used. There wasn't anything particularly sophisticated about what they did. They had a lot of people. They had, like, ropes, and they had sleds, and they had like wood. They had like wooden ramps and stuff. And they did it. They did it in 9 months.
Like Uncharted X. What about the people like Uncharted X that survey the sites and go there and they do
people on what?
Based off the same things?
The people on what?
Like Uncharted X.
I don't know what that is.
Uncharted X is a very, very informative YouTube channel. Like, you should check it out.
Uncharted X.
All that type of stuff. Yeah, you would like it.
Would I? Is it conspiracy theory stuff?
No, it's just pure factual information. It talks about like symmetrical precision engineering and some of the statues. Like for example, like one of the statues in Cairo, there's like a cat, and you can see the rib cage of it. You know what I'm saying? That's just not possible with the tools that they had, regardless of.
I don't know about this man. Like, this is like promoting like some huge bedrock shafts and hidden subterranean chambers at the Giza Plateau. Like, I don't know. It seems kind of like pseudo archaeology clickbait stuff. But look, all I'm saying is that, like,
you would have to watch it to find out.
Yeah, of course. But it seems like you are discounting the ingenuity of humans. Humans weren't stupid 5,000 years ago.
No,
we were just as smart then as we are today. We just have better tech.
I think they were smart. I think they were smarter back then than they are today. To be honest.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, we had the same brains back then as we do today, right? Like, same brain size, same brain structures. So, like, we're the same species. They just had less technology. And so to say that, like,
for, like, brain improvement.
Like, if you take an entire nation and dedicate almost all of its resources except what's necessary to keep the nation operational, like, you know, except the farmers who needed to, you know, farm to keep people fed. If you took, like,
based off of religion, so it'd be towards a goal.
Yeah. So, like, of course, if you take, you know, 20 years, you can accomplish something magnificent like the pyramids. It just doesn't seem that far-fetched to me.
One big problem is how I really got into studying this stuff is, like, the fire is not like the soot that's on the roof of the shafts in the pyramids of Giza is just not there. And
so
there would be evidence of soot there because light
Why would
Like
there be
in
fire?
Indiana Jones, they would have had to reflect light all the way down there. You know what I'm saying? By the time that the light got down there, it'd be dissipated. You know what I'm saying? And they would have needed to
So
constantly work with
I don't
light
know if
around
soot
them.
lasts for 5,000 years.
There would be evidence of it if they were going in and out of it.
So you should talk to an
constantly,
archaeologist about
every
this.
single day. Yeah.
Like, talk to an actual archaeologist about it. Somebody who, you know, who's, or an Egyptologist or something. Like, I'm sure that they will be able to have an interesting conversation with you about this. I'm not that. All I'm saying is that, like, generally, I think that, like, who do you think built Stonehenge?
Honestly, I think that was just put there just to fuck with us.
By who?
God knows who.
But,
I'm not
like, by
saying
people?
alien or fallen angels. Honestly, I don't know. Like, I never really researched Stonehenge. My dad did, but
So look, and I'm not saying that you're doing this, but a lot of people do, and I think it's probably worth pointing out that people generally only ever point to the people, or often people suggest that, like, these amazing archaeological things or these amazing, like, architectural developments that were built by
there's a god or some type of
no, I wasn't going there. Oftentimes people assume that it's the amazing architectural buildings of non-white people. Those were done by aliens or by fallen angels. But then people are just like, the ones that are done by, like, Europeans or, like, the Middle Easterners, these are, like, done by these are just made by people. So, like, there's something underground there that maybe might be underlying why we have these views about, like, Egypt and Mesopotamia, but we don't have these views about, like, Stonehenge. But look, Cody, this is pretty off topic, so I'm gonna let you go. But I appreciate you being here, and good luck talking to an archaeologist. Okay.
All right. Hey, can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah, sure.
What was that previous caller before the other caller, theological, whatever his name was? What was his name?
Theosophical Evidence, I think was his name.
Theosophical Evidence.
I think that was his name. Or you talked about the guy that was talking to me before, like the guy that was on screen and he was in here?
Yeah.
Oh, his name was Testimony.
Testimony?
Yeah.
Testimony.
Yeah.
That's a cool name. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well,
All right,
Cody,
man, well, I'll let you go.
thanks for being here, brother.
I just
Have a good
want
one,
you
okay?
to know that God grow and you'll see him one day. But
all right. Sounds good. Take care. All right. It was chill. It was really off topic, but it's maybe worth, maybe worth putting it up. We'll see. All right. Let's talk to the next guest. Let's talk to Peter J. Parker III. It was Theosophical Evidence. I guess you're right. Peter J. Parker III.
Hello.
That's a hell of a name, or that's a hell of a voice. How are you doing? How old are you?
I'm 18. I was born in 2007, my guy. And
there's no way. There's no way. There's no way, my guy.
Hello.
Yapinator, how's it going?
I'm fine. I'm doing good. I just
Glad to
had
hear
like
it.
2 questions. They're kind of basic.
Hold on, Yapinator. Before we move on, how old do you think the Earth is?
I'm not too educated to really say, to be fair.
How old? I mean, like, how old do you think it is? You just don't know?
I mean, yeah, I just don't really know. It's
okay.
Like I don't believe like it's created or something. I just think it's part of the universe and stuff.
Okay. But the topic is about the age of the Earth and the age of the universe, so...
I just had a question about the universe. It's just not about the age, you know?
All right, make it quick.
So basically what I was thinking is, if we could both agree that the universe is expanding, right?
Sure.
What is it expanding into if we don't know?
It's not the universe. It's not
infinite.
It's not expanding like it has edges that are getting further away from each other. It's expanding like a given parcel of space is getting bigger in 10 billion years. I have several videos on this though that you can go check out.
Can you explain it?
Not in this live stream, no.
Wait, whoa.
So go watch the videos. I have a few on them. All right, let's talk to War Deadpool, who I think is also on the YouTube. Wow, I sound like a boomer. On the YouTube. War Deadpool, how's it going?
Doing good, buddy. The screen's working. Hey, so
what I wanted to bring up to you
Before we start, I got to ask
go
the
ahead.
question, how old do you think the Earth is?
So that's kind of irrelevant for what I'm wanting to talk about. But
Okay,
it's
but
fine.
that
I
is the
think
topic of
world is-
conversation.
That's fine.
It's the topic of the debate.
Because I was going to go into the Southern Pole telescope and things like that, but we can have this conversation if you want. So I am one who thinks that the world is only about 7,000 years old. The reason being is because the way I describe it, it's like a painting. So if I was to sit here and draw something, you would sit there and say, like, oh, that took you, X amount of hours to do. But if you looked into the details of things, like the paintbrush, what type of clay was used, how long that had been around and things like that, you could quickly go into years and hundreds of years and thousands of years. So that's the way that I view it.
So the Earth is only 6,500 years old, but the stuff the Earth is made from is much older?
Correct.
And so where did that stuff come from?
Where did that stuff come from?
Yeah.
From God's creation.
And how long has that stuff existed?
I have no idea.
So when you say that like the Earth is only 6,500 years old, you mean, so like what was before the Earth? Was it just like a bunch of stuff lying around, or?
I don't know. I mean, you're asking a question to, our scriptures that only have, like talking about the creation of the world within, like 2 pages, or really only one
sure.
page.
So what would you say about like, like there are human things that we have that are older than that, right?
There
like
are
artifacts, human artifacts,
that are older than that.
Like human artifacts, yeah.
Like, okay, so that is where I feel that there has been a false doctrine that has been pushed of, like, oh, Aborigines, in Australia were here, 7,000, 9,000 years ago. Yet there's only, a very, very small percentage that is there in Australia. So you're talking about insanely incest with a group of,
Well, I'm not talking about the Aborigines. I'm talking about the Yahoo symbols.
Yeah, so I get it. But still, that does not mean that what your interpretation of a symbol or a piece of an artifact is your interpretation of it.
It was,
carbon dating is only good for, like 500 years. After
carbon dating is good for like 50,000 years.
No.
Why do you think that it's only good for 500 years?
Because after about 500 years, it's a discrepancy of, very small errors. And the further and further you go back, the more that errors increase.
So how'd you get the 500-year mark?
That's just a number that I'm throwing out, is so that once it goes into X amount of time, it starts to have discrepancies.
But on what grounds do you think that it starts to have discrepancies?
Oh, good grief. So hold on, let me pull it up for you. So this is straight from Google's AI. So carbon dating has inherent, and it's not like I Googled this type of stuff, but anyhow, it says carbon dating has inherent error margins due to factors like variations in the atmospheric carbon-14, contamination, and limited number of samples for older objects, which can result in inaccuracies ranging from a few years to several centuries.
Right. Right. So suppose that the inaccuracies are as much as several centuries, because, error bars are error bars. If I have something that's carbon dated to 8,500 years ago, even if they were wrong by several centuries, that's still much older than 6,500 years.
I mean, that's again where I'm just going to leave the conversation at is your opinion, and that's what
But
you're
it's
holding
not an
grounds
opinion.
to,
You just read
like
it.
it's, huh?
It's not an opinion. You just read it.
Yeah, I just read that it sits here and says literally that it has inaccuracies.
Yeah, inaccuracies
and
of
error
up
margins.
to a few centuries, right?
No.
Isn't that what it says?
So it says, which can result in inaccuracies ranging from a few years,
Mm-hmm.
To
Up
several
to.
centuries.
Right. So the inaccuracies can be as big as several centuries, right?
It can be, and it can also be as small as a few years.
Right. So if the inaccuracies can be as big as several centuries, and we have something that is carbon dated to 8,500 years ago, if they were wrong, if there are inaccuracies, those inaccuracies could be as big as several centuries. So maybe it's only 8,000 years old and not 8,500 years old. That's still older than 6,500.
No, because once it starts to go further and further, it grows more and more.
Where does it say that?
That's just in common sense of when you have something that has a probability of a small error that starts within 3 years of, let's say, just like a 0.001% chance, the more that you go for, 10 years, it increases it to 0.001% chance. And then once you go to 100 years, it's 0.1% chance.
I don't think that's how carbon dating works.
So I'm not saying that's how carbon dating works. I'm saying that's how the error.
I don't think that's not how error propagation works either.
Okay.
Right.
So again, it's your opinion. Just
well,
like
no,
how
I mean, this isn't an opinion. You're saying that there is some fact about carbon dating that, errors accumulate, blah blah blah, and you're just like saying that. Do you have anything to back that up? Or
yeah, that's what I just used off of
the text doesn't say
Google
that
search.
though. That's not what the text says. What you just pulled up, you read that and it didn't say anything at all like what you said.
So what I said was that there is inaccuracies.
Yeah,
so
there are inaccuracies up to a few hundred years. Yeah,
I'm not going to sit here and go on to how I'm not going to put my faith into something that has an error system in it, especially for something that is, talking about things of 45,000 years ago to 250 million years ago or longer.
So look, Wardad, the whole point of doing science and quantifying errors, which is what you're talking about, we're talking about you make a measurement and then there's some errors. Actually, let's just back up. Like when you're measuring something, when you stand on a scale to measure your weight, it'll say 170 pounds or something, but that has an error of half a pound, right?
Okay.
So anytime you make a measurement, there's always errors built in because no measurements can be 100% precise. There's always look at a ruler. Like a ruler, if something falls between two tick marks on a ruler, which one are you going to say that it is? You're going to say that's one closer to it, but it's somewhere between the two, and there's some error. There's some built-in error there. Every part of any measurement is always going to have some error in there. The whole business of science, at least one of the businesses of science, is to quantify how much error is present when you make measurements and to minimize that error as much as you can. And so the fact that they're telling you how much error is present in carbon dating, that should make you more confident that they're correct rather than less confident that they're correct.
That depends on what type of ruler that you're using. I mean, if you're using something that you go and pick up from Lowe's, it's different than, something, a machinist can go and buy that's,
I agree. The point is that depending on how you're doing your measurement, you will get different levels of error. And so they're saying that, depending on the conditions, depending on how they did their measurement, you can get errors from a few years to a few hundred years. And that's fine. They're telling you how much the error is, which means that you can rely on the numbers plus or minus that amount.
Okay.
So, of course, yeah. I mean, the fact that they're telling you how big the error is, that should really make you more confident that they're correct, because they're not claiming absolute certainty. They're telling you what the range of possibilities are that are consistent with their measurements.
Okay. I mean, that's all I'm going to say to you is just okay, that is how you view it, and I view it different.
So if you have, I don't know, let's say that you have 10 different mechanisms that all agree on the age of something, not just carbon dating, but you have 10 different mechanisms that all agree that the Earth is older than 6,500 years old. Doesn't that indicate, like, if they're all giving the same answer, that it's older than that, doesn't that indicate that there's some truth to it?
But that's not what they're doing.
Oh, but they are. So we have carbon dating, which indicates that we have artifacts that are older than that. We have uranium lead dating, which is a different kind of thing. That indicates that that the Earth is billions of years old. We have dendrochronology.
With more errors.
We have dendrochronology, which is using tree ring data, which gets us to we have continuous tree ring data that gets us to around 14,000 years, at least 14,000 years old. We have ice core data that gets us to at least 100,000 years old. We have stalagmite and stalactite data that gets us to millions of years old. We have so many different pieces of data that all agree that the Earth is older than 6,500 years.
Again, what I started my conversation off with when you asked me that question, I sat there and said that when it's like me, when I draw a picture and the type of paintbrush I use, the type of clay and all that stuff could say that the picture is a lot older than what it really is when I sat there and drew the picture.
But we're not talking about materials here, right?
Well,
like,
it is
like
materials.
The trees, how could you have trees before the Earth existed?
Again, it's so when you are drawing a picture, you're not drawing a picture of, something that's right here. You're drawing pictures from things that are old material based, certain types of clays and paste and things like that.
Wait, are we talking about the materials that you use to make the picture, or are you talking about the things that you're drawing?
So
So
the
look,
materials
the trees. If I'm understanding the analogy, what you're saying is that the materials used to make the Earth are older than the Earth actually is.
Correct.
In the same way that you can have like trees, you can have like an old tree that you use to make a new chair, right? But if for example, if we're talking about tree rings, how like every year a tree gets another ring, those tree rings, we have roughly 13,900 or so years worth of tree rings that like in a continuous sequence, right? And so how is it that you could have the tree rings before the Earth? Like in the painting analogy, you can have the paint before the painting. How can you have the tree rings before the Earth?
It's the exact same thing. Those are the type of, so trees and other things like that are the same thing that I sit there and say that those are the materials, just the exact same.
So you would say that trees existed before the Earth did?
Yes, I think it's how creation happened.
Wait a minute.
That's just how I view it. I could be totally wrong.
But by the way, that's not what the Bible says.
So again, I said
the Bible said God made the plants after he separated the waters from the waters above and the waters below and all these things.
Just like Adam, it's not like he made Adam when he was an infant. He put him at an age. So he can put trees at an age.
Oh, wait a minute. But this is a different argument.
What you're trying to
Hold on, this is a different argument.
We're changing powers.
This is a different argument. We went from the materials are older than the created thing, which fine. Like that, I can understand your point there. To now you're changing it to the created things are created older, and that's a different claim, right?
I don't really care what exactly.
But then you're just moving you're just like
politically correct in it.
This isn't politically correct. This is just you're changing your argument because your first argument got blown out.
No, it's not that something got blown out. It's because
why change your argument?
Opinion, you went off of something.
Why change your argument?
I went off of something else.
So the trees I didn't exist before the Earth did, right?
Like the reason why I came up is because I wanted to talk to you about you have an image in the back of you.
Yep.
And you don't want to have a conversation about the Southern Pole Telescope.
Oh, we can. If you think that the image behind me is false for XYZ reason, we can talk about that. It sounded like
actually what I want to talk to you about. So this is straight off of Google Earth. Give me just a second. And
But I assume that this still has to do with like the age of the Earth, the age of the universe, that kind of stuff.
yes.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
So on this, I know it's definitely hard for y'all to see, but this is on Google Earth. This is where you can go inside the Southern Pole Telescope.
I'm going to go to Google Earth. What are the coordinates that I have to go to?
Oh, give me a second.
We can do this live. South, is it called the, I thought it was called the South Pole Telescope.
No. You can't do it that way.
Then how'd you get there?
So give me just a second. I'll show you.
Okay, I'll just zoom out and I'll scroll over to Antarctica.
Yeah, so if you, let me see if I can give you coordinates. All right, see if you can put these coordinates in. I'll say it slow.
Okay.
84 degrees.
84 degrees.
59.
This is 0.59?
Yep, okay. 59, and then the single dash, I can't think of what that word is.
So 84 degrees, so 84.59, or...
that's not exactly
it's
how
59 minutes. It's degrees and minutes. So,
yeah, I mean, if you're feel free to look.
59 minutes is like nearly 85. So it's 85 degrees south. Oh, let me make you bigger, and then I can maybe see it. Oh, it's so low resolution. 84 point, or I'll just put 85 south, 44 point, like it's 0.6 west. Okay, we'll just go there, and then we can find it from there.
44.39, and it's west.
Okay, we will see if we can find it.
Okay.
I don't actually. Okay, actually, I'll just put in the coordinates of South Pole Telescope. There we go. That's what I'll do. 89. Yeah, let's do this. Wish.
You're good. Take your time.
It's just annoying because nobody's giving it to me in decimal notation.
Hold on. Let me see if I can find. Hold on. I can give you decimal. Give me a second. 80.
There we go. 89.9. There we go. Okay, I found it. And then it's 45 degrees west on the nose, I guess.
It's 44, 39, 22.
44.6 west.
Yeah.
Come on, go to the place. I don't know why it's so hard to find. Okay. Anyway, do you want to? So go ahead and tell me about what you found there.
So when you go inside of the Southern Pole Telescope, and I can show you. I mean, basically what you do is you'll sit here and so here I'll zoom out because the screen's so small. But when you go to Antarctica, you can zoom in and you zoom in, and you can take the little man and you will drop it on one of the blue spots. When you drop it on one of the blue spots, this is what you get. You get where you can walk around the southern.
Oh, neat! I found it. I think. Yeah. Okay, I think I found it. So let me. Oh, that's the wrong. One sec. Let me grab this. Move this to here. I just need to make sure it's in the right window. I found it.
You're good.
Is it this?
Yes, but all right. So you're at the that pole spot. So
am I not?
Out.
Is that not where I'm supposed to be?
So back out just ever so slightly. Grab the little man. There you go. So you see that larger blue square?
Yep.
Go to that larger blue square.
No, don't take me away. Okay. Okay. Drop in the little man in the larger blue square. Okay, here I am. Yep. Cool.
Okay, so you're actually up on the stairs. If you want to see something cool, you can. Well, now you're on top of the Southern Pole Telescope.
This is really cool.
Yep.
Okay, so how do I go in?
All right, so
this feels like playing a choose your own adventure game.
To the right arrow. Now go click on the arrow on
Maybe
the
this
left.
one?
Yep. Now click on the arrow what will be on your left now. Yep. And then click on the arrow to the left. That'll go inside.
Okay, cool.
All right,
this is
so
rad.
Keep moving. Now go to the left. Yep. All right, so freeze there for a moment.
Okay.
Go back.
Okay, we're freezing here.
I'd like to show you some other cool things since this is your first time in here. So you can pan up and you can actually see the Southern Pole Telescope of, their stuff.
You mean like the data for the CMB polarization stuff that they have? Yeah,
so
sure.
Basically what they did on this is whoever at the Southern Pole Telescope sat there and said, hey, we should turn this into, like where you can walk around on Google Maps.
Sure.
And so,
but there's an argument coming, right? Because this is really cool.
Yep. So, they were like, let's go a step further. Now freeze here because this is going to be something interesting I want to show you.
Hey, look, that's a familiar picture.
Exactly.
It's almost like I took that picture from the same place that they got it.
Correct. Yep. So if you actually go back to that, so this is what I'm getting into. So if you see that on the left side of that image, can you read that off?
Yeah, people used to think the universe would collapse on itself, the so-called Big Crunch. Now it looks like dark energy will tear it apart. We're heading for a big rip.
Correct.
Yep.
So
this is actually outdated, by the way, but that's fine.
Correct. So this is what I was wanting to show is that used to, so in biblical sense, a lot of people read the scriptures as God extending his arms and for an expansion of the universe. So what they used to contradict it is they would say, hey, no, we're actually imploding on ourselves, and that's why they called it the Big Crunch. Eventually, they realized in X amount of time or X amount of years, they realized that, hey, this ain't working with all of our scientific findings that we're finding. It's actually expanding.
Well, so to be clear, the original cosmology that was proposed, or that was fairly common in like the 30s, 40s, and 50s, was that the universe was static, that it wasn't expanding, it wasn't contracting, it was staying the same size. It was called the steady state model. Then the Big Bang model came out. The Big Bang was arguably first put forward in like the 40s and 50s, and then it was basically confirmed in the 60s. And they basically said, look, the universe is expanding now. We have XYZ amount of matter. We don't have anything to keep it from collapsing back in on itself at some point in the future. And so gravity would mean that, well, it's expanding, but just from inertia, and eventually it'll collapse back down to a point. Then in the late 90s, it was discovered that the universe's expansion was accelerating. And, the cause for this was dubbed dark energy. And so then it was believed that the universe would expand and expand forever at a faster and faster rate. And now that led us to what's called the concordance model, or lambda CDM. In fact, that's actually right here on the picture. They mention it, the concordance model, right? Lambda CDM. That is now in question, whether lambda CDM is true. Now, it's probably still, people are still taking it seriously now, but in the last few years, data has been coming out that's been putting more and more question on whether or not lambda CDM is true. And so it's just not clear what the fate of the universe will be in the future. Maybe it'll recollapse, maybe it'll expand, but slower and slower forever. Maybe dark energy will do something else completely different. We're kind of in the dark here, but I don't understand how this proves anything wrong.
So it's not exactly, I'm not someone who cares about saying that someone's right or wrong. What it is that through time, things have changed in science.
Yes,
like science back in the day of 1600s and things like that was, Sir Isaac Newton. It wasn't about, religious. It was more.
By the way, it 100% was religious. It was way more religious than it is today. In fact, Isaac Newton wrote more about his weird theories about the Bible than he did about anything scientific.
Yes, so Isaac Newton, oh good grief, hold on, give me a second. Trying to remember what exactly he was.
So he did.
Yeah, so Isaac
he was a
Newton
heretic,
was
is what he was.
Yeah. So Sir Isaac Newton, he rejected the doctrine of the Trinity.
Yep. He was also a heretic in like a whole bunch of different ways. And he thought alchemy was real, and there were a lot of things. But like, science was originally like a religious, if not religious, it was like kind of, well, I don't want to say it was a religious thing, but it had a lot of religious undertones because in the 16 and 1700s, they understood science as trying to understand the nature of God's design, right?
But it was built on a method, not a belief.
It still is built on a method. Are you referring to, if you're referring to the scientific method, then yeah, we're actually way better at doing the scientific method now than we were 300 years ago.
That too, but yes, but no. So it was. That's just how it is. It wasn't them searching for God or disproving of God.
Well, to be clear, that's not true. Lots of people were trying to prove God existed by observing the heavens.
Sure,
that was like absolutely a thing that scientists were obsessed with. Some anyway.
That's not the big bolt of it.
I mean, like.
I mean, that would be like me sitting there being like,
generally,
there's some cosmetologists that are Christians.
Cosmologists.
You know, like even though it's only 7%.
But my point is that like everybody just believed in God at the time. So they were just like, yeah, so we're studying this thing that God made, right? Like they weren't fighting with atheists that felt like they needed to try to prove God exists.
Then would you sit there and say, that studying water or plants or anything, I mean, do you always feel like, oh, this is going to be something to, prove or disprove of God? Because I don't view it. I think that it's more so people sit there and say, hey, I want to view this cool stuff
so
out
then,
here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that that a normal person is like, yeah, we're just studying this thing that's there. I don't think that it involves really God existing or not, but a lot of the the old scientists from the days of yore, they absolutely were doing that. They were absolutely like, we're uncovering the mysteries left behind by God. That was absolutely like the motivating factor for a lot of these scientists.
Yeah, sure, some. Just like how there was only a few, back in the days of,
I would bet that it was most, by the way, but it's hard to say because we don't have like sociological records from then. But that's neither here nor there. Is the point that's like, so science gets new information, like scientists discover new things and we update accordingly. Is there an issue with that?
No, there's no issue with it, but
so then why bring this up to begin with?
So the reason why is to show that things have been changed and things are going to continue.
Yeah, things change as we get new and better information.
Yep. So, and things come out to that they were a lie. I mean, it was a lie to sit there and tell people that we were going for a big crunch.
Well, to be clear, it's not a lie. It's not lying when you just say something, but you're wrong.
In the complete opposite direction now.
It's not a lie. To be clear, nobody ever thought that the universe was collapsing. There was a theory that.
So the people down in the southern.
I'm in the middle of a sentence. There was a theory that the universe would collapse in the future, and that was based off the best information that they had. It's not a lie to be wrong about something.
When you sit there and you say one day that we're going for a big crunch and then you change the, later on to, hey, we're going for the big rip into a totally different direction.
It's not a lie. It's called being wrong, right? People can be wrong, right?
Yep. Okay. That's fine.
Like it's, I don't.
So there's things that are being taught. Okay.
Also, by the way, a big crunch is still on the table. I should mention that.
Yeah, some people do still see it that way, but more so the thought now is in the other direction.
That's how it was for the last 20 years. But we're getting data, like there's recent data in the last few years that's calling that into question, and so the big crunch may be more on the table than you realize. They may have been right all along, actually. We'll see. This is a developing field, but scientists have gotten things wrong before. And
So it's one thing to sit there and say that hey, here is X without undisputable proof. And it's another thing when you push something that is, that's not 100% proof, and it gets pushed into the field of well, you lied to us.
Where's the
And
lie?
You call it wrong and things like that, but
like
science says. Go ahead.
If let's say that I don't know. Let's say that. Okay, yeah, here's a good one. Are you familiar with the Iliad?
No, I am not.
Are you familiar with Homer, the Greek poet?
Yes.
Okay, so the Iliad was one of the epic poems that he composed. It was about a war in a place called Troy, right? A war between the Greeks and the Trojans. They were fighting about a woman. There's a whole thing. Very good, very, very interesting story. But for the longest time, and this was composed 2,800 years ago or something like this, right? For the longest time, by the time Europeans kind of like rediscovered this poetry, like 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, whatever, for the longest time, most people assumed that Troy was just made up. So, you would write down in your textbooks when you're teaching the history of ancient Greece, they'd be like, yes, and Homer composed the story of the mythical land of Troy, where the Greeks and the Mycenaeans, they fought with the mythical Trojans. And so in that textbook, I don't think it would be correct to say that they were lying at all. They were informing people, students, with the best information they had. And then in the mid-1800s, a German guy was doing some excavating in Turkey, and they found the city of Troy. And that doesn't make the old textbooks lies. They just didn't know.
I guess what I'm getting at is when they push it to say that, hey, biblical text and things like that is wrong. And that is how they push that. That's why they push the Big Crunch.
The Big Crunch and the Big Crunch has nothing to do with biblical texts, nor does the Big Rip. Well, none of this has anything to do with any of that.
Says that God extended his arms, so meaning expansion of the universe.
That doesn't mean expansion of the universe. What?
Why would it not?
Extending your arms and the universe expanding are different things. Like if you want to interpret it that way, you can. But like that's a personal interpretation.
But the whole entire reason why they went against it, because that's how a lot of people felt. So the whole entire reason why they went against it was to go against Scripture. They went against it in the wrong direction with calling it the Big Crunch.
No, that's not why the Big Crunch was like a serious theory.
There's tons of things like science. Wait,
hold on, Wardad. You should just know that like you're supposing that this Big Crunch theory was put forward because they wanted to go against the Bible. It has nothing to do with that.
So the science should have never been based upon a religious
It wasn't based upon a religious anything. It was based off of the data that was available.
Exactly. But you said earlier,
the Big Crunch conclusion was based off of the data that they had available at the time. Yeah. They saw that the universe was expanding. They saw that gravity existed. And so the conclusion that you can draw from the equations of gravity that we have and from the observed state of the universe is that the universe's expansion would slow down and then recollapse. That is the conclusion that they could draw given the data that they had. It had nothing to do with trying to disprove the Bible.
Okay. Well,
like it's just historically inaccurate to say otherwise.
Especially today, especially how you were earlier. You were sitting there saying, oh, yeah, people in the 1600s were more so Christian. And now they're,
they are.
90% of them are atheists and things like that. That has nothing to really do with science. It should never do with science.
I mean, there are people who are atheists who are scientists. There are people who are not atheists who are scientists. The reason I brought it up was because the person was questioning the statement that I was making about the strange feature of our world that cosmologists tend to be overwhelmingly atheists, even though they're supposed to be the ones that are discovering the glory of God. So that is unexpected under the God worldview. But it says absolutely nothing. I'm not saying anything about that makes them correct. I'm not saying that this is like, oh, because a lot of them believe it, it's true. What I'm saying is that it's surprising that they would all come to the opposite conclusion, given that they're the ones who are most likely to be studying and be most well informed
But they're
on
not
the topic.
searching it for a religious belief. They should never be searching it for a religious
They're not.
belief.
That's not what's happening here. Scientists
That's what's happening for you. That's why your whole
Science-
entire point of
to be
this
clear-
conversation is saying that the church lied to you.
Yeah, the church did. That's not
So
scientists' fault.
that's
That's
what
the church's fault.
Again, you and several other people have turned science into a religious.
In what way
thing.
is science
It should have
religious?
Never been.
In what way is
Because
science religious?
If you didn't, then we would actually be evolving a lot more into science.
In what way is science religious? In what way have I made science religious?
Your very topic here.
Wait, no. This isn't making
here.
science religious. I'm telling people. The background here is telling people that religious communities have tried to dip their toes into science, and they shouldn't, especially when they lie about it. This says nothing about what science is. This says about what religious communities are doing.
Yeah. So if
You're
if
reading it backwards.
Okay. So if that's your point, then why are you hung up on this? Because I've seen you around for years doing the same thing where you bring religious into your topics over and over again.
Well, because it's an interesting topic that I like to talk about.
Okay. Well, then you're not evolving at all. You're not wanting to evolve.
I don't know what you mean by evolving. Do you mean like biologically, or do you mean like I'm not thinking about things differently?
What I'm talking about is actually having a better understanding of science and getting into new technologies and things.
I don't understand what the criticism is here. Are you saying that like I'm not, like, I mean, like my streams have definitely evolved. They're definitely more sophisticated now. I'm streaming on multiple platforms. I have multiple different like I'm more
talking about
detailed backgrounds and stuff
in general.
So what does that have to do with my streams?
So people who get hung up with trying to make it religious, they go at a slower
Who's
rate.
making it religious? What are you talking about?
You are.
I'm making
And
science
there's other
religious?
people
No, I'm
that have
saying,
made
how am I making
science
science?
into religion.
Okay, how am I making science religious?
Okay, I guess we're gonna just spin tires on this again. You have it right here saying, your church lied to you.
Right. That's not about science. That's about your church. The church
Correct,
is the subject of that sentence.
Yeah, so you're wanting to turn it into this religious propaganda.
This is a religious conversation that we're having. We're not having a scientific conversation. We're talking about how your religious organization lied about what the scientific facts are.
Okay.
Or like, it seems like you're getting it backwards. I'm like, there's no. This isn't like science proves religion wrong. That's not the claim here. The claim is that your church is lying. Often it's probably intentional. They also could just be wrong about things and spreading misinformation as well.
So that to me, I will sit there when someone says something wrong and you change it to something vastly different. I call it a lie. You don't call it.
So what if they weren't?
When I was saying, hold on,
malicious.
If I can, when you were saying earlier that hey, the big crunch and all that stuff, it was just wrong. That's not a lie. Well, then churches, why don't you give them the same, gratitude with saying,
because
hey,
they know what the evidence is,
wrong, and they change. Do what?
They're not like. Well, okay, to be clear, there are some churches who are like very pro-science and like that's cool. There are some churches, however, that are very anti-science and literally maliciously and dishonestly reject or misrepresent the scientific data to push a view that like the Earth is 6,000 years old or something like this. This is a thing that happens in a lot of churches in the country, in the United States anyway. And so I'm specifically addressing those churches, not like the churches that are like, oh yeah, like we believe in evolution and we believe that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old. We just think that God guided these things, blah 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 blah. Like that's fine.
It's just I don't get caught up on, what someone's belief is.
Well, I think that people should believe true things, and I think that we should teach people true things. And so if we have a collection of people who think that the Earth is 6,000 years old, and they want to teach that in public schools, I think that that is a bad thing, actually.
Okay, so what do you think about evolution then? I mean, it's
happened.
literally it's so evolution has a gap, from monkeys to man, after,
sorry,
like
when's the gap?
10 or whatever. There's one of them that has a gap. Why
When is
sit
it?
there and push that?
When's the gap?
I don't know when exactly the gap is, but there's a gap in between,
Hold on, can I pull something up?
Yeah.
One sec. I gotta pull something up, and this will probably get my live taken down, but whatever. It's a good meme. Here we go. So are you referring to, right, so you're like, there's a gap here, right? How do you go from here to here?
Hold on. No, what I'm talking about
Is it the
and I
gap
can't
from
remember.
is it perhaps the gap
So
from
you
here
have,
to here?
like 10 different stages or 20 different stages,
Is it the gap
type
from
deal.
here to here?
Yeah, there, so it's like,
Or maybe it's the gap from here to here.
Yes, yeah, like that type of sense.
But are you sure? Because it seems
Well,
like
in evolution,
actually it
you
seems
should
like,
do away with the old.
where's the gap? Is
and
it the
become
gap
to
from
new.
is it the gap from here to here?
So that's what I'm getting at. Did I not just say that? It's like 10 of them, and one of them has a gap to where it's not coming in. So, and another thing that's big about evolution is
Yes.
that you get rid of the
one
old.
gap between this monkey and that slightly different monkey.
Okay. I mean,
Like,
take it however you
I
want,
mean,
but, evolution, the whole entire point of evolution is to get rid of something that's old to become new, yet you
What?
still have monkeys today.
That humans didn't evolve from the monkeys that exist today.
Okay.
And
cool,
evolution
great.
evolution is not the
great.
process. Evolution is not the process of getting rid of something old and getting something new. That's not what evolution is.
Okay, so you sat there and you just said, am I right in what I heard that we did not evolve from monkeys?
Not from monkeys that exist today.
So
The
why are
monkeys
we
that exist
teaching
today
this?
exist today. We evolved from our ancestors. Our ancestors don't exist today.
But we're teaching, like, you're so against teaching, certain types of religious stuff, the 6,500 years old, type deal on your scientific stuff. Yet there's other people that are out there that can sit there, and debunk evolution for monkeys and stuff. But
I don't
evolution
know,
is taught
man. I don't
big
think they
time in our
can.
schools.
I've never seen anyone successfully do that. And if you want good evidence that nobody's successfully done this, go look up Gutsick Gibbon on YouTube.
Okay.
She's a biologist. She's actually a primate biologist, if I remember correctly. And so, like, she talks with creationists all the time, like anti-evolutionists all the time, about going over the evidence and what the evidence is for evolution and all of this stuff. And like, I've never seen anyone bring up something to her where she's like, huh, that's a good point, evolution is wrong. It's always like, oh yeah, no, here's how that works. So she's a primatologist. Thank you. That's her name. Gutsick Gibbon. Her name is Erica. I haven't had the chance to talk with her yet, but I'd really like to. She seems cool.
Okay. Well, you do have tons of different types. If you want to get into geologists, philosophy of science.
I thought we were talking about evolution.
Philosophy of science, you have, Stephen Meyer.
Are we talking about evolution or no?
So yes. So these are people that are against.
I would expect that it would be biologists, right?
So, well, okay. So if you want to go into biologists, then you have biochemists, like Michael Bay.
is Michael Bay like? Does he study evolution? Is that like his thing?
So
Isn't Michael Bay a
rejects,
director?
Or Michael Bay doesn't reject it; he criticizes it.
Isn't Michael Bay a director?
No, you're thinking of. Hold on. You're thinking of Michael Bay for the 9/11 stuff.
What 9/11 stuff?
For Michael Bay.
Are you talking about Michael Behe?
Yeah.
Maybe that's how you pronounce it.
Thank you.
Okay, so who is Michael Behe? Let's find out. I've never heard of this guy. He is a biochemist and an advocate of the pseudoscientific principle of intelligent design. That's funny. That's the first line. Yeah, so he's a biochemist. So he's... I'm sure that he has some criticisms. I'm not sure if he's like the right person to be criticizing like primate evolution, for example, because I don't know if that's his field of expertise. But I'm sure that actually maybe he's even spoken with Erica. We could even find out. We can just go Google and see. Let's see. Michael Behe.
You're always going to find some people.
No, so I don't think that they've spoken. I actually don't know if Michael Behe does debates or anything like that. But anyway, the point is I've never really seen any particularly compelling evidence that evolution is false. I've actually seen a lot of compelling evidence that it is true, considering that we've seen like evolution happen in a laboratory. So I don't know, man. Like, if you want to talk about evolution, you could go talk to an evolutionary biologist, or you could talk to a primatologist or something like this. That would be a cool way to... What?
All I was getting into was that you're against, teaching 6,500-year-old of Earth. But, the truth of the matter is that's not actually taught in our schools at all.
No, I know it's not taught, and I'm glad that it's not taught in our schools. There was a push for it in the early 2000s for it to be taught in our schools.
Yeah, so now they
lost.
They teach.
So now they don't.
So, yeah, they teach evolution, which is
like scientific, right? In fact, actually, Michael Behe was involved in testifying in these court cases involving teaching intelligent design in schools. And in fact, I guess his view
criticizes it.
His views were cited in the ruling that intelligent design is not science and is religious in nature. That's funny.
I don't know every single thing of what someone says at some point in life and what they turn into.
So the judge quoted him and then said, "See how unscientific this is," I guess.
Okay.
I just think that that's really funny. But look, all I'm saying is that like we should teach things that have scientific evidence for them. We shouldn't teach things that don't have scientific evidence for them. And I think that that's a good thing. I think that whether you're in church or in school, you shouldn't be teaching things that are blatantly false and disregard the vast majority of the scientific evidence. I think that that's bad.
So see, that's where you get hung up with. Earlier you were saying, hey, when I talked about the big crunch, it's just wrong, we evolved,
but it was consistent with the scientific evidence available at the time. That's the point.
But so is sitting there talking about the date on Earth, so
6,500 years is not consistent with the data that we have now.
Correct, with the data that we have now.
Yeah, so we should teach stuff that's consistent with the data that we have.
And are we not?
Yeah, well, if a church is teaching you that it's 6,500 years old, then the church is not.
Again, you were saying schools.
I said schools and churches.
So, okay, schools and churches. Well, schools, that's something that's totally different than a church.
Well, look, I'm not going to say that churches teach this stuff. I'm not going to say that like a church, like we should legally force a church to not do this, because that would be super, super problematic. But I still think that it is like morally reprehensible to misrepresent facts and misrepresent scientific data to try to push like a Iron Age cosmology. I think that that's reprehensible whether it's in a church or in a school.
Okay, so then you do believe that it shouldn't be taught in churches?
Yeah, I just don't think that we should legislate it that way. We should just shame people.
Okay.
But look, War Deadpool, it was a delight. You were a great interlocutor, and I do appreciate you being here. But it is around noon, which means that I need to go make myself a sandwich because I'm hungry. Is that fair?
All right. Yep. Have a blessed day, buddy.
Thanks for being here, War Dead. He was pretty good faith, all things considered. I mean, like, there were some things, but generally, like, seemed like a chill guy. I don't know who he was. People are saying, like, oh, I know who he is, blah, blah, blah. So, like, maybe he's some guy that I've never heard of. But he didn't get into a yelling match, so. Anyway, y'all, I'm going to read some super chats, and then we'll end the live. Oh, and I also, before I do that, let me read the Cash Apps and things like this, because otherwise I will forget. So we have $20 from Shay for snark bonus. I'm on it today. Oh, I appreciate that. I love me a good snark bonus. And then we have Ben sending $10 for enchilada on Buy Me a Coffee. Now let's take a look at some super chats. We have €5 from Duke of Shaska. Look up bent pyramid at Dashur. Aliens made a mistake and had to change their math mid-construction. Yeah, I've heard about this. The bent pyramid is hilarious and also shows how the process was evolving. Nick Gagner sends 1,000 joules. Thank you so much, Nick. We have Seth Torres also sending 1,000 joules. I think I just got another Cash App. From Rob, sending $2 for exceptionally good live today. Well, I appreciate you. That's so sweet, Rob. We have, there's a bug, by the way, with the joules where it'll just like spam one person sending something 1,000 times. So it's hard to see if it's been done multiple times. So I see like Seth Torres sending a corgi like 100 times in my feed. It's really weird. From Wiz Nilly with the $5, I think we can safely dismiss the technical opinions of anyone who films their screen. Well, no. What else are you supposed to do? 600 joules from Soliloquies for the latte. Thank you. That will buy me a latte. Thanks a latte. See what I did there? We have $5 from Zachary Zastro. Blitz, a spin on the Silverback Gorilla question. 100 young Earth creationists versus one mass spectrometer. The young Earth creationists would just break it. It's easy. And we have more of the thing being broken. Oh, that's the same question. We have 3,200 joules from Shadind Utux. Thank you for the fox, Shadind Utux. And then from Shithead's Tavern sends a corgi for 1,000 joules. I appreciate that. You guys are being so generous today. I appreciate you guys. Peace and Love sends 250. Shithead's Tavern sends another 1,000 joules. And are there any other super chats? I think that's everything. If I missed one, I apologize. I apologize profusely from the depth of my heart. I don't think I missed any, though. So, just one more thing to shill for myself, because I should, and because, I deserve it. There is a set of notes that you guys should be familiar with. If you're not familiar with, I've been talking about them a lot lately because I've recently made them available. These are my notes. So these are notes that I use in my debate lives. Now, I don't really actively use them in a debate live, but it's the kind of thing where when you write something down, you're more likely to remember it. And so I have a series of notes on Young Earth. Young Earth needs to be developed a bit. I have a lot of notes on flat Earth stuff. I have a lot of notes on theism, just for, notes, resources, arguments, counter arguments, and so on. If you want access to it, you can. The only requirement is that you are either a Patreon patron at any level, or you are a member on either of the YouTube channels. So it's like $4 or $5 a month or something like this if you want access. And I do update it on the regular, so you're not getting nothing. I should also say, if you guys aren't watching the second YouTube channel, this is Dr. Blitz Debunks, you guys should be, because this is where all of the best debate bits can be found. They can be found there, posted once a day. Just a video that you can watch instead of having to listen through all of the different debates. You can go listen to the good ones there instead. So thank you guys so much for being here. I will be live tomorrow at around the same time for some Ask a Physicist. We're going to transition to being just a science day. That will be on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and I'll see you guys for more debates on Thursday. Until then, everybody.